Welcome to Outlaw Radio on a Wednesday night, hump day edition. Word on the street. Word on the street. What's going on? What's happening in the 414? My name is Kevin Barnes, and I am a black heterosexual male, and I'm a proud man of color. And I'm not alone. I got my co-host with me. Share the show, share the show, share the show. Get into the chat room. Call in if you have to. We do have a number. That number is 262-202-5131. 262-202-5131. Mr. Carter, what's popping with you, man?
Life. Peace, y'all. Welcome to Outlaw Radio, where we talk that talk and we definitely walk that walk. Raising vibrations and elevating thought. Y'all better come on in. I'm trying to tell you, I am the black woman lover, the black man's brother, the culture teacher, the hood healer, the ghetto witch doctor. I'm y'all holistic health and wellness coach, Mr. Kamar Carter, and I also bring you Nature's Nature Herbs and Supplements and Vitality. You can find it on Facebook, Nature's Nature Herbs and Supplements. Or you go to my health page, Healthy Self, Heal Thyself, and ask somebody about it. They're going to point you in my direction. Or you go to my page, Kamar Carter, inbox me, and I'll tell you how to get your Nature's Nature Herbs, Supplements, and Vitality. Or fuck it, just call me, 414-949-2122. Let's put a package together for you, family.
That's what's happening, man. Support this brother. Get with him. Get with him. Get with the witch doctor. I got my other co-host with me, man. Rail, what's popping with you, cuz?
Chilling, man. Very happy to be here. How y'all doing this evening?
We are well. I hope everybody out there is well, man. Y'all share the show. Get in that chat room, man. Ernest Walker said, power to the people. All day and day, as Outcast would say. Yes, yes, yes. It's all about us. It's all about us. When I say us, I'm talking about black men, right? Right? This is us. This is all about us. This is what we do. Foundational black Americans, man. We're gonna talk a lot of shit tonight, but we're gonna make a lot of sense. This is what we do. Mondays, Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. till whenever we choose to cut the machine off. And I usually just go through a lot of socio-political things. Sometimes we have celebrities on. Sometimes we have local leaders, politicians, whatnot, what have you, but it's all to the good. And you can be on if you just reach out. If you got something going, you have something positive or progressive that you're doing in the community that you would like to promote, you have a black business, get with us, holler at us, come on the show, spread your joy, don't be selfish. All right. So like I said, man, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Let me check my chat room because I see some people in there. Crystal Ship, shout out to Control C. She said happy Wednesdays, Outlaws. Happy Wednesday, Outlaws. Control C.
Peace.
Shout out to Control C. Yes, sir. Sair, greetings, Outlaws from the morning shift, MKE, hittinghardradio.com, the pulse of the city. My brother, how you doing? It's been a minute. Hadn't spoken with you. Still waiting on you to get on. Still waiting on you to jump on Outlaw Radio with us and chop it up. Mama Jenkins, she said, I'm in my family, and the cleaner is jumping. She said, Tell will get with you in those books. Kev, I'm waiting on my hoodies. Oh, yes, your hoodies are coming. Your hoodies are coming, Mama Jenkins. Mama Jenkins has already put her order in. Vince, make sure you got your device turned down. We got an echo coming from somewhere. Somebody they got their little AM FM radio on. You ain't supposed to have no radio with no antenna in 2023. So, man, we're going to talk about what's going on in the city tonight. We're going to talk about what's going on in America. For black people, it's uniform. I don't think, the one thing about all the problems we have in Milwaukee, we know that they are pretty much carbon copy in every other urbanized area where there's people of color, right? So we don't feel like we're unique in our dysfunction. We just like to expose it and then talk about solutions. Deion James, what up, y'all? How you doing, my brother? How you doing?
Peace.
He said he on this road. He said he's on the road. Mama Jenkins said, what's up, Rail? So Vince Tony, who is our guest tonight, he's sitting in on Word on the Street with us tonight, Outlaw Radio. Hit Vince up. Vince is, I'll let Vince tell you who he is himself. Vince, tell the people who you are.
Well, if nothing else, I think everybody, if you don't know, I'm running for alderman in the 1st District on Monday. Went down to the city hall. They actually called out the names and put everybody on the ballot in the position that they're going to be in. I just kind of wanted to witness the entire experience of what they do. And I think one thing that I've concluded is that I'm not sure why people from the community, maybe the NAACP, young professionals, and other people weren't there to let the community know what's happening and about the process. I think the more that we try to teach people about the voting process, the more people that might consider voting, even though there might not be candidates out there that they want. There's other things on the ballot that they can be interested in. So somehow or another, I think we have to start educating people about it voting. I think um, there was no media there. There was nobody there. You don't hear anything about the election coming up and what the importance of it. We talk about the national elections, but locally it means more because we have automatic positions that are coming up these people in these positions, they hold the mayor accountable and the city accountable. So that I think that's something that's very important. It's not being talked about by anybody, for that fact. So I think, we started with 11 individuals. Um, there's a couple persons, they didn't have sufficient signatures on the nomination papers. There are a couple of people that dropped out. So we're ending up with 5 people that are going to be on the ballot for February 21st, the primary, which is going to narrow it down to 2 people. And then April 4th, they're going to have the spring election. So on the ballot, of course, would be myself, um, Zandra Bailey, I believe, Marshall Martin, um, Andrea Pratt, and David Bowen.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so those are the 5 people that are going to be on the ballot. So if you look at the middle person, that would be me, and in the middle of both sides. I mean, you can call it what you want to call it. One side may be chaos, and the other one might be confused. So I'm in the middle. You see my name voted, and I'm going to put out a bio, and I'm going to have some video attached to it, and of when I ran before and some of the meetings that I have. And I think what people will see is that there's one consistent message, and it's about family, and it's about community, and it's about education. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't think we can talk about the criminality and criminal behavior, the driving and things. That's all incorporated into getting the family back together. So that's where I'm at right now, waiting probably the weekend to get some material. I'll start knocking on doors and asking people to vote and let them know exactly what I'd like to do. And I think I started off in the beginning with the letter that I sent to all of the people that were on the ballot that, let's not wait until whatever time happens. We know in April there's only going to be one person. So I asked the other 10 if we can get together and have a committee, because what actually happened in District 1 is the Shante disappeared. So a lot of people, I'm knocking on their door, they don't even know that they don't have an alder person. So the reason for me asking these individuals to get together and have a committee is that to keep the alder person accountable and keep the constituents informed. So far, I reached out to everybody, all 11. I haven't gotten any response back from any of them. And I'm kind of surprised because just before the election, David Bowen called me and told me that he was running. Evidently, he was up in Madison packing. I guess he's not the assembly person anymore. But I've tried to contact him. I called him. I sent him the letter, and I still haven't heard back from him. And I think it's kind of sad because I've been in the community since 1992, and I consider myself a constituent. And I think this is kind of the prelude to how people are going to act into office. So not only I call them, and they can't call me back. None of you. Nobody can get together and meet right now when we
Okay.
have these problems.
First, I want to say welcome to the show, Courtney. Uh,
Hello, friends. Hello.
what's going on?
Hello.
Uh, so we got
Hello, hello.
Hello, Governor. Good to see you again.
right. Let me get with my chat room. Let me see. Mama Jenkins said I'm gonna start with why are these motherfuckers voting on the new spots for the Lincoln Hill the Lincoln Hill spot juvenile prison without a full common council. Shout out to
Exactly.
Shay and Kruma. I see you, my brother. Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Tiarsha Arthur, good evening. Kev, Kamar, Rail, and Guest, and Outlaw family. Shout out to Tiarsha Arthur. Now, Vince, let me ask you this. Ruben Anderson, what's going on, my brother? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to the show. So I want to start with this because other people aside, right? Like, so I kind of feel like if they don't want to get with you, if they don't want to respond, if they don't want to meet, forget them. All gas, no brakes. We're not even worried about it. I think if we just take your record in the community as a homeowner, as a person who's been on the active, just really you should be known, especially in your immediate area because you've been active for a very long time. If they don't want to get a piece of your knowledge or whatever, I say forget about them, and we just it is what it is. Because I want people to be as informed about you and your record and why you deserve their votes more so than I care about people even knowing that they're running or that they're involved or like, I'm just saying, like I want to we want to keep our eye on the prize here. And so like you have uh, a history in this neighborhood. You've been active on a lot of fronts in the neighborhood. So let's talk about some of your involvement in that neighborhood, things you've done over the years. So when people say, "Do you know how this game is played?" You can say, "Absolutely, I know how it's played because this, and that." I feel like I'm job interviewing, right?
Yeah, I think, most importantly, I think when I moved into the neighborhood, they had a block watch, and I became a part of the block watch, and eventually the person stepped down, and they nominated me to take over the block watch. So I've been a block watch for right since before COVID for 10, 15 years, but been a part of it pretty much the whole time I was in the community. So uh, I understand the Garden Homes area. I'm only one person. There's only so much that I can do. So in this area, I've been actively involved in everything from trying to get the hotspot liquor license revoked. We've had, I've got video where my car was vandalized. So we've had people move in here. Give you an example in our block that are drug dealers. They moved in and say we pastors, right? They live on the corner. I say, cool, we got some good people moving there. But eventually, it turned out they were pastors to drug dealers. So eventually, what happened is that when they moved in, we give them a welcome pack. Say, welcome to the neighborhood. And if somebody called the police, this is going to be one of us because that's what we do in our neighborhood. We're not taking any of this crap. And that's kind of what I like to see happen in the district is that people start taking ownership of their areas. And when people move in, they go have a discussion and say, hey, this is the way it is. So don't be surprised if you playing loud music and somebody knocks on your door because we did it, right? So we did it, and eventually the police officers, they came, they got involved, and it got written up as a nuisance property. And eventually, we had the fifth district do a roll call. I don't know if you guys know what a roll call is in the military every morning, and in the police department, we get up, everybody gets in there in the ranks or whatever, and we get the order of the day. So they did one of that in front of their house, and they eventually left. And they moved out, but they did do some damage to my property. But nevertheless, I'm still here. So I've been down to the Common Council 2015, 2017, and 2018. Now, 2018, I was down there by myself, advocating against the hotspot liquor license. And the reason that I was by myself is because the community has given up on Ashanti Hamilton in reference to getting something done. In 2017, 2015, he had heard that we're going to go down to the Common Council and advocate against the guy from the hotspot getting his liquor license. Hamilton had not been to any of the block watch meetings since I had become the lead. He came to our meeting and he brought with him the guy from the hotspot, and they asked us to give him another chance. Well, I wasn't willing to give him a chance. Of course, all of our members are elders, and they say, hey, he came to our meeting, he asked us to give him a chance. We gave him a chance, and he didn't do what he's supposed to do. Ironically, in 2016, his license wasn't called up for renewal, and it's something really suspicious happened. So I called down to the called down to the Common Council and said, what happened? Well, they changed the script on us. They say, well, in the past, if you've been calling down to calling down to the non-emergency, and you said the hotspot, well, they would call it in. They said, well, in 2016, if you called down and you said the hotspot and you didn't give the address, it wasn't recorded as a nuisance property. So they duped us on that one. So we're calling down there. In years past, all you had to do is say the hotspot, and all of a sudden you have to say give the address. So on 2015, they weren't listed. In 2016, they weren't listed as a nuisance property, so they weren't up for renewal. But and I think the other thing that I do that I'm probably proud of two things, and I always talk about the children and the elders. So in my neighborhood, I mentor the boys in my neighborhood, and I mentor the community center there's 2 community centers that I volunteer at, just where there's youth at, the kids down the street, and more importantly, I've got about right now, since the block watches, we don't have meetings anymore. I've got about 6 or 7 elders that I call on a weekly basis to check up on them, anywhere from having to go over and fix a toilet and unstop a sink to going to the store getting some water for them. So this is what I would like to see happen in the community, and to be involved, but not do this myself. I need a lot of help in the community. It took quite a few years, decades, to get us in the position that we're in right now. So it's going to take some time to change some things, but it's going to take active participation with families and communities and neighborhoods.
Okay, so just tuning in, Outlaw Radio, Word on the Street. Tonight we have Vince Toney, who's running for 1st District Alderman. If you are tuning in, Sean Moore's in the chat room. He said, "Family, did you miss me? What it do?" Sean, where you been? We haven't heard from you, my brother. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Right, Sean.
Right. Ernest Walker. Ernest Walker is what you say, Courtney? He body shaming?
He body shaming. It's cool. It's cool though. It's cool.
He said, "Thicken up, bae."
Everybody ain't just, everybody don't get thick. Some people are just naturally slim. It's a natural thing.
They got that metabolism. Is that what they call it? Real metabolism.
That's
Real is our resident neuroscience scientist. Right? Real is a
whatever it is I need it. Shit, I'm trying to.
She said it's natural, Real.
Right. Today was the first day I hopped back on the treadmill, man. Like shit, my birthday in May. Shit, I got a few months to try to reel this thing in.
All right, maybe we all need to abide by that, because it's been cold outside. I'm sandwiched up, as they say. I'm sandwiched up.
Yeah, I put the treadmill. I brought it upstairs out the basement and put it right in my little room I be chilling in, so that it's right in my face and I ain't got no excuses.
Okay. Sean Moore saying, "Y'all make me feel special." And Ernest is apologizing profusely. He's saying, "Oh, Courtney, no, babe, just kidding with you. Yeah, don't try to take it back now. You're done. You're done for the night, man. You're done, right?" Let's see. Mama Jenkins said, we are watchdogs in my hood. We welcome you, but we don't play over here. You're not gonna deal drugs, leave abandoned cars, speed up and down the street. And it definitely not gonna be no garbage on the streets. And you got to put your garbage cans back after your garbage pickup, and you're gonna shovel your damn snow and rake your leaves and cut your grass. This is all a part of our neighborhood. That's not like living at home with my mama. It's like, damn.
Over there.
Because I don't rake my leaves. I don't. It actually.
We be giving out whoopings on Saturday morning.
That's mulch. Hey, Real, that's mulch.
Yeah, that's carbon. You mow that shit into your lawn. Yeah, that's fertilizer.
I got a blower. I blow mine off. I blow mine into the street because I don't like it. I don't like to see somebody's yard, everybody's yard done, and one person got leaves
that'd be
everywhere.
all cool. That'd be cool till the city don't do their job and come get that shit up.
All right.
So, that's Real house right there.
Hey, that's my house. You see my house?
Hey, that'd be all good till the city don't do their job and come get that shit up.
Well, that's on
right.
And then it rained and the motherfucker basement flood.
See, I don't live on a floodplain, so we don't live on a floodplain. And plus, like I say, it's just one of those things. To me, being part of the neighborhood means to keep your yard up and to keep your property up. Like I will get out there with my hedge trimmers and do my hedges, and me and my son will get out there when it's part of it. It's part of where you living at. So I do the outside of the house. My wife do the inside for the most part. So. I believe in that. Shovel your snow, man. Cut your grass. Because, brother, if I was your neighbor, when you looked up, I'd be in your yard with my blower, like I got it.
Mad as hell too, man. That's good soil. That's good soil. You leave the leaves there because it gives the biosphere and the creatures
dead ass grass under them wet leaves. Come on, man.
No, it's actually a lot of beneficial insects and microbes they gather under the leaves to protect themselves. Look, man, it's an order to shit.
I tell you
it's an order,
they can meet up in the street.
Fall.
They can meet up in the street when I blow that shit in the street.
Right.
Y'all can have y'all meeting over there, man. I'm cool.
Hey, It's a natural thing for leaves to fall.
I say I can't stop them from falling, but I'm gonna blow them out my yard.
Man,
I'm
I
gonna
be the
blow them
cat
out my
outside.
yard.
Hey man, what you doing in my yard?
I'm
That's
trying to
good
help your ass.
fertilizer.
Hey
Right?
man, what you
You ain't
doing?
helping me depleting my soil. Let the
Right.
circle of life get that
Right.
soil back
The
rich.
soil's fine. The soil's fine. Break your damn yard. Tell him, Vince, you
Nah.
block captain. Yeah, Vince will be over there with a bunch of kids cleaning your shit up.
Oh man.
Can't think we
Vince
just
be like,
making
these my
excuses to not
mentees.
clean it up.
Hey, you gotta get your shit up, neighbor. So, but no, but I no, but yes, for real. No. Ruben Edison said, "What to do, Vince?" Ewok says, "See, Kevin, don't read it all on air. I was talking about Kamar and that vegan shit, but y'all left that part out. Y'all fake news."
Ewok,
I
if you
feel
feeling
you,
guilty, you know what I'm saying? You clearly feeling guilty. It's okay. You ain't
Ewok.
got to trip
I
on
don't
it.
hey, I don't even know what he talking about.
You clearly deserve this.
He feel
That is
bad now, like
definitely
that.
for you tonight. That's for you, Ewok, because he said
He walk on something all by himself. Don't nobody even know what
he
he
said I
talking
wasn't
about.
supposed to read it on the air. My bad. You put it in my chat room. Is going on the screen. Peace, patience. How you doing? How you doing? We got Vince Tony in the house.
Peace,
Vince,
peace.
I want to ask you a couple questions, but I want people to know they can call in and ask you questions because if they are potential voters or they thinking about dipping their toe into the political pool, you seem to be an excellent source of information for them. Now, I want to say y'all can call in 262-202-5131. Other than that, you'll be putting your comments in the chat room and you'll have to listen to my remedial ass try to read it and stutter and stammer all over your comments all night. That ain't what I said. Well, call in then, damn it. I can't read forever. But so, first district, let's talk about who lives in first district, because if you're listening to the show and you don't know what district you live in, a lot of people don't know who their alderman is because they don't know what district they live in. So let's talk about the first district and that area. Because I know there's the hot spot and there's Atkinson, but there's much more to it.
Yeah, it goes all the way up to Calumet down to Capitol, so it's a huge area, and there's a lot going on. I think everybody pretty much has the same consistent problem with the drugs, alcohol, mental health, the erratic driving, and the shooting. So that's pretty much in every area of the city. So everybody's concerned about that and trying to mitigate that and put some band-aids on it, if you will.
I'm laughing at the chat room. I'm sorry, Vince. Like, what the hell are you laughing at? No, I'm laughing at the chat room. I grew up in the first district, and the first district is a very prominent black district. And for people who don't know, it's bordered by 53206. If you go south, I believe, and I don't know what borders it going north. The Silver Spring, getting into the west side. I don't know what that one is, and I should, because I live on the west side. So, like I said, in my heart, I still live in the first district. So I'm still like ready to vote for you, but I can't vote for you because I'm not in your district. So I want people to know that this is a large area. And so if you're in that general area from Capitol to Calumet, you said from Atkinson.
From Capitol on 9th up to Green Bay, up to Titonia, to Calumet, over to 43rd, down to Silver Spring, over to 55th, down to Hampton, back over to Sherman, and back down 35th to Capitol.
And I know Atkinson, after Atkinson, it's 53206. Okay. So if you live in that area, and we talk about politics all the time, a lot of people say why they will, why they won't vote, why they do or they don't. It's an ongoing conversation. Voter turnout is very low. Shout out to Ram Muhammad, who was on the show the other night, and he said something very interesting, which I also agree with, is most of the times when you go and vote, they give you a number. And I don't think I've ever been over 70.
Yeah. I think the last two elections, I think, especially in 2020, a lot happened in 2020 that was very discouraging in this district. So I'll talk about this district. So 2016, there was 9,000 people voted. In 2020, there was only about 4,000 for two reasons. One reason is that the Common Council, the mayor, made a decision that we're going to close 115 out of 120 polling sites. So, and this is during the time when COVID was going on and it was raining. So we expect people to come all the way from the north, all the way down to the south side to vote when it's COVID. And the other thing that they did is that they switched up the ward. So some people had in my area, we used to go down the street a couple of blocks to New Hope Baptist Church to vote, where they switched it over to someplace else. And I think that too was discouraging to some people and kept them away from the polling. They said, you know, the hell with this. I got to deal with closing it down to 5 sites. Now they moved mine to a different area and COVID. A lot of less than half the people that voted in 2016 voted in 2020.
Okay, so but now they're all going to be open this time.
We hope so. I think the one thing that's discouraging is that they've changed some of the wards and people don't understand their ward and where to vote. They may have voted one place the last time that they voted, which was probably 2016. Now it's something different. It's a totally different location. For some people, not all.
Okay. So,
yeah, I can speak for my area. I had to go from 2 blocks away to probably a mile away to vote.
But here's a hint for anybody who's saying I want to vote, but I don't know where to go. School, library, school. Normally, schools are almost every school you can vote at. And libraries you can vote at. Yeah. And so it's very easy. Like people say, I don't know where to go. It's very easy. Like if you want to vote, you can find a voting place. So I just think people choose not to vote in Milwaukee.
And I can't vote for Vince. No.
Okay.
Because I'm over where y'all at, and we all in the northwest side. So no, I cannot vote for him. We cannot vote for him. No.
You're not in a district. You'd have to be in a district. And I think that the one thing that I would say, Milwaukee is small. Everybody knows everybody. So you know somebody in District 1, you know, shout out and send them to my page so they can get some information and call me or whatever. I got numbers and everything. They can call me to see what it's about and what I'm about, because we already know what the previous alderman was about. Was pretty much not very much of anything.
Okay. I just wanted to get people clear on that. And Sean Moore says that's that king shit, talking about my reading. It's all good, Sean. It's all good. It worked out very well. It worked out very well.
Sometimes it don't be working out well though. Sometimes
hey, it's all good. It's all good. I promise you. I have hardware. I'm fine with it. I don't even worry about it. I promise you.
But it got too far though. That's all that matters. It worked.
Hey.
It did what it needed to.
Hey, look. Don't make me start showing off awards on my show. No, I'm just Ernest still mad about that comment. The funny part is I didn't even read the comment. Courtney responded to it and I alluded to it, right? Oh, I did say don't get thicken up, babe. I did read that part.
And nobody else knows what the hell's going on.
Right. Right. He made a comment about Courtney eating vegan food. He said, stop eating that shit Kamara's eating, thicken up, babe. Right. And that was the gist of it. So
okay.
Outlaw drama tonight. Outlaw drama. Sean Moore's talking about the neighboring area codes 53224, 53223. Okay. Thank you, Sean.
That's up in the Brown area, I believe.
Yeah, that's going north. North. You got to do some strange things for some change, says Ruben Anderson. That's a very interesting concept in terms of talking about running for public office. I want to get into that with Vince because I want to talk about City Hall with him. Byron Terry said, love the platform. This is your opportunity to express your dislikes. Pay close attention to how this will play out. New sheriff, new clerk of circuit court. After the first black county executive and the first, I think he meant, first elected mayor of color. Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if color has any kind of.
I think we got to get off that color thing. I think if you qualify for something, black, white, and then we always pushing the first black, the first this, that doesn't mean that they can do the job. So we have to, in the community, have to do our due diligence. Where did this person come from? What's their affiliations? And who are they going to really work for? I mean, so we look at Crowley and we look at the mayor. Ably funded these guys at the tune of probably combined of over $1 million. So who do these people work for? And why do we continue to vote for them just because other people want us to vote for them? We don't do our homework and we're not educated. So we've got the NAACP, we got the Urban League, and we got all these people talking about let's get out to vote. But I think getting out to vote and educating us about the candidates and what they're going to do, if they're going to do anything, that's what we need to know. And that's what we need to be voting on, not just because somebody's a certain color. Are they liked?
Okay.
Because we don't know.
Sayer, he's saying Albertina. Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said because we don't know these people, Kev. We're trying to get to know them in a quick amount of time. and then try to make a decision on who is supposed to be the best to represent us. But it's kind of hard. It's hard.
Yeah, I think
Right.
here's what I think should happen is that right now we should start looking for the next mayor. If you want to be the mayor of Milwaukee, then you need to put your name out there now. We don't need you 2 months before that happens, and we need to be able to vet you, and you need to be in the community showing us and telling us what you're going to do now so we can get a very good picture. So what I'd like to do is have individuals and organizations, vet me. Gwen Moore and all these people go out there and they say, let's get out and vote. Well, when we're going to educate us about the people that are on the ballot, including themselves and what they've done and what they're going to do, because I don't think very much has been done in this city for people of color that's made a difference, especially consider the chaos and confusion and corruption that we're dealing with right now.
Let me see. Mama Jenkins said, "That's all I'm saying. Just keep your shit together. So it's okay for them to fall." She's talking about the yards. And keep in mind, I'm behind on the chat room. So I'm like, damn, he just now reading that shit.
Right.
Right. No, it's in regards to the yards. She said, "That's all I'm saying. Keep your shit together. It's okay for them to fall." Talking about the leaves. Just make sure your yard has a little curb appeal. Shout out to Vince, but have y'all talked to the city attorney about the hotspot being a nuisance in the neighborhood? Maybe you got to go over that fucking common council and declare it a detriment to safety. I think he was saying he's pretty much gone to everybody
We
in
went
regards
through
to
the
it.
system already. The system doesn't work, and the irony and the sad thing about it is that when you have citizens that go down there and contest the license, and you have the older people and the older people behind them continually tell them that they can keep their license to the tune where I've been told by in front of the common council, Alderman Hamilton said in front of the licensing committee that I have a personal vendetta against the guy at the hotspot. So when what and that's what's happened in Milwaukee. So we can say that go down there and do this. Well, the people have been down there. People are just tired. They're tired of not seeing anything happen in this city, and nobody's doing anything about it. That's why anybody can come in office and do absolutely zero because nobody has to be held accountable here because everybody's given up on these systems and these people.
Byron says, "I don't want to hear any excuses. I would hope none are given." Ernest, you said he got a question for Vince. Give me a second, Ernest. Tiarsha Arthur said a lot of people are doing early voting and mailing in their ballots. That's also true. Byron
But she's saying
said,
a lot of people, but that's not a lot of people compared to the people that used to go to the polls that are no longer going to the polls. So in 2020, our numbers were down from 2016, 9,000 to 4,000 in 2020. So even though they're voting absentee or whatever, the numbers aren't going up.
okay. Byron says it's time for the people that look like me to show up and show out and stay on their asses. Accountability is one of our favorite words. Mama Jenkins says call City Hall and ask where do you vote if you need to know. And she gave the number 414-286-2221. Nicole Burr, how you doing, my sister? She said, "Hey, family, justice for Denari, justice for Denari. Patience is in here. She told us about a meeting you have had with Brother Ashanti, and we are waiting on to see how he can help you all and what he's done for you all, or support you. I shouldn't say help." Ruben says, "Thank you, Vince, because thus far all of them have been nothing more than utter failures." Byron says Abley was the white guy that the black sheriff Clark said Abley was suffering from penis envy. He said he can't forget it. Yeah, David Clark was batshit crazy. I was very happy to see him go. Man, I keep telling y'all, I don't like to refer to another black man as a coon or a Sambo. But man, Lord have mercy. He was definitely a front runner. He's the dancer for real, man. Byron Terry said, I like people of color is my focus. Ruben Anderson said, nothing hard, Queen. The difference between possible and impossible lies in a person's determination. Sometimes I be reading this and I realize I be behind on the comments, so it'll be a conversation going on in the chat room that I don't know about. So I'm bringing up the rear, and it sounded like I'm super remedial, right? Uh, Patience said, "I like to hear candidates speak on solutions, not just reminding us of issues." That's what I want to get into. How you doing, Miss Gwen? Chantel Gwen, how you doing, my sister? So I wanted to talk about City Hall because we know for so long, um, City Hall is kind of like the central unit. This is where it goes down at. And the Common Council meets. What do they actually do? They do a lot of zoning and licensure hearings and approving for people to open buildings. They sit on different committees, and they are supposed to be a liaison between their chosen district and City Hall, which, like Vince said, is supposed to hold the mayor accountable for his responsibilities to the city. So, but when you go down there, and there's gonna be there's 5 vacant seats, right? And so you said 5 people alone, which I'm glad it's not 11 anymore, because that was just super convoluted and people wouldn't know which way was up. But I'm glad that it's 5's down to 5. That, to me, that sounds about right. But when you go down there, what you run into is party politics. You run into Democrat and Republican initiatives and individuals who have the influence and the money. And so you have to somehow figure out how to work with these other aldermen in order to get things done. Like, it's one of those scratch my back, I scratch your back type things. And if you want to be a maverick, or if you want to do something different, you don't get a lot of support. So I just wanted to know if you have any kind of inkling on what your plan will actually be to navigate these relationships when you get down there.
Well, I think it's to navigate relationships sometimes does require negotiation. So I do have a degree in business, and I have worked in corporate America, and I do know how to negotiate. However, there's a thin line between negotiations and what the people in the district want. So it's not really, it's about what's going on in the district and what the people want in the district. So I represent their needs and their wants. So whatever I take down to the Common Council comes from the community, which requires me to be in constant contact with the constituents to understand what they need and what they want, and to take those issues downtown. So if we need economic development, which is true. So in the Garden Homes area, we've had in the last year, we've had DRS is moving 500 livable wage paying jobs to Menominee Falls. Eaton Corporation moved to Menominee Falls. Astronomics moved to Cedarburg, or one of those counties. So our interest is economic development, and we keep talking about different things, and we have jobs, and then we have companies leaving our community. How do we bring them back or get something new in there? Those are the things that we need to be talking about. And then education.
Hold on. Let's do them one at a time. Ewok has a question for you. Ewok, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm here.
Go ahead with your question.
First, I wanted to make a statement. There's most people, every 4 years, people vote for president, and they may vote for a member of Congress. But when you want something to change directly that's in front of you, you have to vote locally, and a lot of people don't vote locally. You know what I'm saying? You want a pothole fixed, you got to vote for the person that's gonna fix the pothole. Another thing that I was thinking about was they have these what do they call them, propositions on the ballot. Vote yes on Proposition 128. Nobody even knows what in the fuck it is and shit. And when you get to the to the voting booth or whatnot, and it says Prop 28. So sometimes when I get there, I'm one of those people, and my intentions is good, but I don't know what the hell it is. So I leave it blank. You know what I'm saying? So how can we get people more educated on what these propositions are before we even get to the ballot? What is they talking about? Because the commercial, they what do? They word it in a way to make you think you're voting for something, and you voting against your own interests.
I think that's called educating oneself on the items that are on the ballot. I mean, you have to know for yourself to go out. If you see something somebody's talking about, there's always information is available. All you have to do is click a button on the internet or any place, and you can find that type of information. Now, then do you share that knowledge? Yes, you share it with somebody else that you know. So it's a matter of sharing information and the knowledge that we know about what's on the ballot. So we've got the NAACP, we've got Young Professionals, we got all these organizations in the community that say that they want people to vote, but yet they're not informing them on what's on the ballot, what's important and what's not important, and explain it to them and getting the information out there. So you go to the ballot and you're ignorant of some facts that are on there, and there's absolutely nothing you can do but guess. and that's taking the homework out of it.
I'm definitely guilty of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely guilty of it. Like, what? No, wait a minute. I'm not voting for nothing because I hadn't heard about it.
Yeah,
I didn't even know there was a proposition that was going to be on the ballot. So I'm guilty of that myself.
So
and
I
that's
can
what
tell
they
you
want.
what, I want to give people advice too. If you have a phone and you have Google and you say I'm getting ready to vote, all you really have to Google is the election, and it'll tell you every candidate that's on the ballot, and it'll tell you every issue that's on the ballot. So if you just like
No
simply
doubt.
put it in and be like, I'm about to vote. Let me see. Okay, what's on tonight's election? Tonight is this, is that. And just Google that, it'll pop up. And so yeah, of course, I do agree with you, Ernest, on sometimes the information the way it's presented and it's meant to try and go over people's heads, so they'll figure this shit too complicated. I don't understand it, so I'm just not gonna deal with it. But it's not as complicated on the surface in terms of voting. So I when they put the should marijuana be legalized and everybody jumped up and went and voted and they thought that they were voting to legalize marijuana, but you were just voting to get it considered in the future.
Right.
Like that's all you were voting on. You were, if people say weed finna be legal. No, it's not. They're just saying if we vote on this, it's a referendum. Maybe somewhere down the line we'll talk about it, or the discussion can
No
start in the
doubt.
back rooms. But because you still ain't seen it, you still haven't seen it come back. Because even though it passed, they like, well, hold on, we're a long way away from that because they're really trying to figure out how to tax.
Yeah.
But that's another show. But so
Right.
I do understand what you're saying in that regard, Ewok.
What's your question?
No doubt. No doubt. No, I didn't have no more questions. And you know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all entertaining me for a second. Y'all go right ahead.
All right. Ewok the Great. I missed his call, so I had to make
Kev,
sure.
I think what he's talking about too. I think in the district, I guess the alderman should take some onus and responsibility of educating the people in his district of what's going on, because they put out newsletters, so they send this stuff to everybody's house. So they've got ways to inform people, the alder people, of what's going on. But I don't think I don't think people in this city that are in office really want the average person to know what's going on. They like to keep us dumbed down so we don't make these decisions. They can continue to get these positions and do nothing.
Okay. Tiasha Arthur is in the chat room. She said, my vote, wi.gov is another way to find out where you vote and find out about your district. Patience, you're right. She said, look it up if you can. I mean, if you want to know about it right now, this is one thing about today in today's society. It's very, very hard for you to say, I don't know nothing about that. Because if you wanted to know, you have this thing that we all hold all day called a cellular phone. Cellular phone, I believe my southern people say. And you got Google on it. And I'm not saying Google is 100% everything is true and everything is factual, but a lot of basic information can be learned just by saying, hey, Siri. I see y'all talking about, hey, Siri, cut the lights off. Hey, Siri, play Barry White. You'll never say, hey, Siri, what's a caucus? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just, we got all the technology. Sometimes technology doesn't benefit you if you don't know how to use it. You know what I'm saying? You got a power drill, but you don't learn how to use it to put screws in and improve and make building structures more efficient. You just know how to put holes in shit. You got the technology, you're not using it. So I'm just saying, let me see. Byron says, one thing I learned about voting by mail in Wisconsin, specifically in Milwaukee, the ballot comes with instructions that you can read. I want the paperwork. I want the instructions. I want the instructions on how my ballot can be spoiled or destroyed. Read, he said, with exclamation marks. Read.
Yeah.
He said, I know from the post numbers that Milwaukee and Madison can change an election. Gerrymandering my ass, says Byron. Absolutely, they can. It's a city that's 40% black. Tell me what we can't do. When you done talking out there, black people, it's 40% black, and you got all black leadership. Tell me again what we can't do. I think it's more aligned to what we won't do or what we don't do. I think that's probably a better way to, to reference it. Sean Moore said, Vince, 2 questions. When is the hotspot up for review? 2, is there anyone that can file the paperwork for a hearing as Malele stated, that all it takes is one person to file for a review of their license. So, okay, two parts. The first one is, when are they up for a review?
I don't know that they are up for review, because if that's something we'd have to call down to the common council to see if there's been enough nuisance calls. And so off the top of my head, I would say no. And I would say that because in the past, they went down there 2015, 2017, and 2018, and nothing happened. People in this community are discouraged by the fact that they go down there and they contest against the place getting their license and nothing happens. And you've got people that on the other side, you got pastors and community people that are saying, keep his license. So Milwaukee, we live in a city with a bunch of people that are discouraged by the whole system, and they've become disenfranchised. They don't really give a shit anymore. It's that simple.
Okay.
The second question, I have no idea about Malela Cogs or whoever else that's doing what. I don't have any information on that.
I guess she said it only takes one person to file for a review of their license. So you mean only one alderman? Explain that for me a little bit, Sean. Sean got the phone number. He'll probably call in. Mama Jenkins said this is why we need to read with understanding, and if you don't know, ask somebody. The people perish because of the lack of knowledge. Yes, we say that all the time here on the show. Y'all get some of this Outlaw Radio apparel. Hit me up for these hoodies. We got hats coming down the line, t-shirts, long sleeves, short sleeves, zip-up hoodies with the hood on them. Real fly shit, black and gray. Hit me up, inbox me, your size, and I'll let you know what the cost will be. You pay me, and you pay for the hoodie, and then we'll get you the hoodie. Sean Moore, what's going on, my brother? How you doing?
What it do, boss? What it do? How y'all doing tonight?
We're doing very well. How you doing,
I
brother?
was talking to other people, bro.
Oh, okay then.
Peace.
No, I want to talk to them. I kind of hog up the time, man. Let them brothers speak.
What was you saying? My bad. What was you saying? My bad. My bad. I accidentally hit some buttons.
Accidentally, my ass. What's the word, though, man? How you brothers and sisters doing tonight?
We're great.
We good tonight.
Hump day.
Yeah. What you got? What you got for Vince tonight, my brother?
Okay, so I got a call from a lady last week. I believe it was Thursday or Friday. After she received the evidence that I gathered against the hotspot, and she stated that she would check and see if they were up for review. However, if they weren't, all it takes is one person to go down there and file the paperwork for them to come up for review. And
right now, they don't even have an alder person in the district right now.
Listen to me, though. She said, with what has been presented, we need to file that paperwork.
Okay.
Because what's needed to close them down is there now. Nobody can deny this. And like you said, Vince, there is no alder person, but that works in the community's favor right now. Because who's going to appeal on it? Who is he going to appeal it to? Nobody.
Well, I think
if the liquor license committee takes his license and his permits, if they strip him, right, he doesn't have a foot to stand on to appeal.
Okay.
I sent the evidence to you as well as everybody else. When she said it, she told me what to do if they're not up soon. So there we go for that one. I got more stuff for you too now, and I'm not talking about just the hotspot. I'm talking about a lot of these gas stations and stores that are nuisance businesses that need to be shut down. And just like I gathered that evidence, I gather whatever else you need to make our community safe.
Okay, and you know what, Sean, you just made a very excellent point, and I wish I had because I was thinking about it when Vince was speaking. What I don't want to waste time on letting people know is the hotspot is not the only kind of
No, it's not.
kind of thing we have in a community like this. Because if you think about that area, there's a gas station on Green Bay and Cornell
Mm-hmm.
where I don't know how many people have been shot and murdered.
Yes.
There's the hotspot there. If you go further down on 27th and Burla, well, that's out of the district, but that's still in the general area.
You can
On
go to
27th and Burla,
Capitol and Green Bay though.
yes, Capitol and Green Bay.
At that gas station.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can start picking them out for you, boss.
Yeah. 27th.
35th and Silver Spring. Both of them,
yes.
the store and the gas station.
Yeah.
You know, there's other and what we gotta realize and not be afraid to say, man, is that these stores, these businesses have played a part in the demise of our community.
That's right.
If you look at the activity around these places, most of the activity doesn't even come from that community, from those residents.
Right.
It's outside influences, right? And they're holding our elders and our kids hostage.
Right. Now we got a caller. Well, caller, give me a call back. I only got one line.
Yeah,
y'all.
I'm about to get off so that you can, call in. But yeah, bro, listen, man. I know you was down there in 2018 by yourself, but you wouldn't have been if they didn't put a restraining order on you, and we would have closed their ass down, right? I'm standing with you now, bro. You know what I mean? As well as all the other people that's listening and paying attention now. We have their attention, right, on this store. And it's not just about this store. It just proves that this is going on, right? They can no longer sweep it under the rug, none of that shit. Now, when the community does as they ask, right, we need participation from the community. We need the community to step up. Okay, we stepping up, and we're providing the evidence needed.
All right.
Do something, or we're going to vote your ass out.
Got you.
See, we can vote you in. We got to show them that we can vote them out, too.
Hire your ass, fire your ass. That's what
we don't have an alderman right now, so there's nobody to fire.
He's talking about when you get in.
But I'm when these seats are filled.
Sean, give me a second.
Yeah.
You are live on Outlaw Radio. Turn down your device.
I got you, man. I got you. It's turned down already.
All right, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Ruben Anderson.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm well, man. I can't complain at all. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm still getting an echo from somewhere.
Yeah, I'll cut it down some more. I'll cut it down a little bit here.
You got to cut it all the way down. One thing, you can't listen to the show while we on.
Yeah, no, we good.
Okay. My brother, now you've been in the chat room. And I was just about to read a very long comment that you put in the chat room. I don't have to do so, and I'm going to spare the people of my MPS education and let you have the floor, my brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. God bless y'all. I just want to say in reference to the hotspots, I think that I think that we have enough now. I want to tell Vince earlier that, I'm confident that the establishment, pretty much their fate is already sealed. There's compelling evidence, I think Sean alluded to a little bit there, that has come forward and they cannot get around this. So whether Rainey is involved, whether Ms. Coggs is involved, nobody can get away with that. Nobody can get around what these people have to say. In terms of the weed, Vince, that was purchased at the store, yeah, I know for a fact now that it was. This witness is so reliable, including the people who are coming forward to say that they've been buying alcohol and cigarettes and everything else with their food cards, So I always say that no lie can live forever. I think that Mr. Jabbar has sealed his fate. We know now that he did try to have that young man killed. We know that the young man is in hiding now. I know exactly where he is. So, Vince, with that said, I'm not going to stay on here long, but I did also want to speak on something that Mother Jenkins said about this new prison thing. I mean, we got to wake up and open our eyes to this one right here. You know, I only say this because I've investigated Bishop Daniels and a number of other people and related to him stealing churches and everything. I just find it difficult to understand if the faith community was unable to reach our young people. What makes you think having a prison and giving them that, you know, that money and all that is going to do the deal? It's not going to happen. This is just about their own, you know, enrichment, of course. So I'm really against stuff like that, especially when it comes to Mr. Daniels. I'm a very strong advocate against critic of Mr. Daniels. You've done enough damage to our community. You know, and this goes along with Common Counsel too. You know, at the end of the day, until we all get to rid of these people and make it a point to get rid of them, then they'll be gone. My last thing is on the cases that I was watching on Channel 12 News today about the young man that was murdered and this attorney, Lamar. May offend somebody, but I think that the man is weak, unfounded, and lack any level of leadership skills. I think he's going to lead them down the wrong path. Everybody's looking for justice from all these different situations that are going on here. But they fail to realize that you have to really get this stuff from the roots. And if all these families were to come together and all of them demand Chisholm's, you know, resignation, and Kent Laverne, from there, we can begin to start, you know, dealing with these old internal issues, protection of the hot spot and all this other stuff. You got a decorated detective that's selling dope and putting boys' lives in danger, turning friends against friends, and that stuff shouldn't be. But our leadership has failed to hold these people accountable. So I think that it's our opportunity, our season, and our responsibility to hold them responsible. I hear a lot of intelligent things every day coming out of people's mouth. But my thing is, though, let's talk about it. Let's get about it. I think we waited a long time to free our community of all this old garbage that's going in. But we can only heal our community when we dig out the people who are destabilizing it. All the people who have been in Common Counsel. I mean, this is something that we have to work for this year. We can't wait until next year and say we're just going to wait for a great candidate. No, remove them from office. Find somebody, let somebody else come up that we can vet to get in there. Another thing with our judges, and I'm going to leave this here. You know, when you got a judge in our criminal justice system telling a criminal defendant, I am honored to give you your first felony, then we know we have a problem. When you have a district attorney who says out of his mouth to the NAACP president, Fred Royal and the other guy there, black overdose deaths don't get investigated and laugh about it. It tells us that we have a root problem that we have to deal with. See, we can get rid of these people, then we can check this old crooked police chief that we got, and just let me just comment on him. Devontae Martha was murdered in police custody. We know now that he beat that boy to death. You know, when he left the hospital, he was fine. They beat him to death. His friend just found Norman going around talking about he just swallowed his dope. Show us a video with him getting out the car, but we don't see no dope. They killed that man and justified it, just like they did with Jaheim Clark. You know, they continue to do it because they know that black people ain't gonna stand up to them. We gonna duck behind somebody. But I think it's time to, you know, come past that. It's time to let these people know exactly how we feel. And I don't know how to go about doing it on my own because I can't do it. So I need the help of everybody. We have a young man, bro, and I'm going to leave it right here, but we have a young man who has mental health issues. He was charged in that situation where the 3 officers got shot down there in Wauwatosa. But he brought a gun and they were passing it around in the room. They never found no gun on him. He's been up there on $25,000 bail. He has mental health issues, cognitive issues, which prevent him from even understanding the charges against him. They said they wanted a competency hearing. Supposed to send him out, but they raised the bail so high. He's been sitting there, his mother paying $800 a month for protection in there to take care of him. Because people are beating him up. He can't even spell his own name. And this is what John Chisholm and the rest of these people do. You know, they don't care about us because black don't matter. We got to start showing them that black matters. These conversations are wonderful. And Vince, I'm behind you 100%, but it's deeper than all that. You know, if we don't dig out the roots and get rid of these people and start letting them know right now, then we're going to be in a world of trouble. They focusing on our younger children now. They done forgot about us. Now they getting them 10, 15, 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? Putting them into the adult system. We don't want that.
We don't even want a prison in our community. How can you give us a prison when you won't even put enough jobs there to help sustain families? Why won't you build a therapeutic institution aimed at reparenting and re-educating people emotionally? No, but let's see something associated with bars because they think we should all be locked up. This is that new age garbage. This is that new Jim Crow, and I ain't a part of it. And I appreciate you letting me be on tonight. I enjoy listening to your show, so I'm gonna go and get out the way.
All right, my brother. I appreciate you for calling in.
All
right.
Much
Yes, sir. We love that kind of passion on Outlaw Radio.
And Kev, I'd like to talk about the Daniels for a quick second because some years ago they came in our community and tell a whole bunch of people that they were building a community-based type detention center in the community. Well, some of the people in the area didn't know about it, and David Bowen is partly responsible for a bill, AB 793, that allows this to happen in our community. We don't mind, and we didn't mind it being in the community. The problem that we had that they have an open door policy, meaning that these kids can do have criminal behavior in the community. They can go on 32nd and Hampton, go in that building, and they can come and go as they please. And I'll give you a perfect example. A young man that I was mentoring, 10 years old, mother's having all kind of problems with him. And eventually he got put in that place. Well, I'm driving down Hampton the day that this dude got put in there, 10 years old. He's 11 at the time. He's walking down Hampton Avenue. Of course, he's not going to get in my car. But the next time the family sees this boy, he's in the stolen car at a relative's house. So that's why we didn't want this in our community. I went around the neighborhood. We had over 200 signatures to say that we don't want this in our community unless it's going to be a locked door policy. I shook Brother Daniel's hand in the meeting, and I told him personally, we don't want this in our community. DRS, the company that has 500 jobs that are leaving the community, they said they didn't want it in the community, but you're going to give this guy, church or community, $3.6 million to house 24 kids a year. And it's just ridiculous to me when these kids have done something criminal and they're being allowed back out into the community immediately and stealing cars and doing whatever else that they're doing. So I agree with Ruben in terms of what's going on in this city with some of the officials and the relationships that we have with WCS and at the time David Bowen, and they put all this stuff and they get together and they talk about it, and the deal is already made before it even happens. That's the problem.
Okay, so let me catch my chat room up because I'm way behind. And I had a caller, 262 was your area code. When the brother Ruben was on, hit me up. I want to make sure everybody's heard. Hit me back right now. The line's open. I know Sean wants to call back, so hit me up. The line's popping. I appreciate that. So then I wouldn't have to catch up the chat room. Here we go. Wait, no, this is Sean. Sean, give me a second. I want to make sure this 262 call gets an opportunity to say what they wanted. You know who you are. Don't make me say your whole phone number. I put your address on it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Mama Jenkins, I got you. She said, send me that bill and she'll pay me. I got you, Mama Jenkins. I got you. I'm gonna make a point of going to get your stock. I just have to. I'm working. I have a government job. I have a plantation job. So got to go work for massa every day. Okay. I'm still waiting on this person to call me back before Sean beat my ass. Byron says everybody knows Trump will sell and throw his own mama under the bus if she was living. What more information do you need? Mama Jenkins, that's why families like ours could greatly benefit from the knowledge you have acquired in your experience. Once again, I know I'm behind on this conversation. She said, loving that color, boss lady. I think she's talking to Courtney because I hope she's not calling me boss lady. Oh, they are. Once again, I'm behind on the convo. I was gonna say, hold on, wait a minute. Pause. I don't trust any of you motherfuckers. When did that become part of the game? You little nigglets. I have no clue what Byron's talking about right now. I'm behind on that as well. Ninth district. I was listening to Ruben. He had me hyped up. 35th and Garfield. Here we go. My boy Joey Phillips, man, my OG, my big homie. He said, I've been over here by Rufus King all my life. The last alderman was trash. Stay getting his hair and nails done, not doing shit for us like a dead ear. We need someone that's going to get on the bullshit that's going on around this. I am involved with my neighbors. I always have been all my life. When it has to go to another level, it's no response until something happens. And yes, shut that gas station down on Green Bay and Cornell, drug dealers haven there. I'm knowing. I'm from the community. I grew up on 17th and Capitol my whole life. I know everything. I know all of the ins and outs of the neighborhood. John Moore says, Vince, bro, because you are the only one. Everyone is fed up and tired. Said that's okay. Keep being that voice. Show them that you're gonna represent your constituents, even if you by yourself, brother. Get that victory and watch the people rally. He says we need to stop spending at the hot spots to get them to move around and sell. Prosecutors need their job. Someone black needs to buy. Here we go. This is the conversation where it goes to. I want to comment on the prison and how it can be a positive. Okay, I got you, Sean.
I want to comment on that too.
Okay, go ahead, Courtney.
Oh, so we're talking about the prison for the youth, right?
Right, the youth prison.
That they want to build closer, correct?
Right.
So, I mean, my understanding is, they have this big one for everybody that gets locked up far away. So all the people in Wisconsin have to travel to that one to go see their children.
Right.
But now they are going to make numerous smaller facilities closer to people so their families could get to them easier. And I feel like it seems like less money would be spent. And we're only sending 30 to 34 boys. A year? Seems like we're not sending that many. It's supposed to be like 30 beds. Why? What is the problem of having it closer so families can, make it easier to see their children? And it is said that children do a little bit better when they do see their family or are closer and can see them on the regular. So,
Courtney, I'll say this, and from my experience of what they've done on 32nd and Hampton, it has to be a locked facility. This is and you say parents can see their kids more. Some parents don't want to see their kids because they're that bad. They want them locked up. So this mother has been trying to get help for her kids. They throw him in this institution. He's out in the streets and he's in a car, stolen car at 11 years old. So that's the problem that we have. We don't mind it being in the community. It can be, but it's got to be on lockdown. If these kids are criminals, they've done something criminal that causes them to be in detention, but they're in detention, but there's an open door policy. That doesn't make sense. So
I heard it wasn't set up like that, though. I heard, kids that do the stolies, I mean, most of them go to juvenile and get out the next day. They get like a bracelet or something. I heard this is for the kids that actually end up going to like a kid prison, getting sentenced. And we don't have many kids that actually get these real sentences. So
the reason being, we put them in these little community centers. They got this open door policy, swing, nothing's happening. So they said, hey, we can continue to do what we're doing, stealing cars, because ain't nothing going to happen until they run into somebody and kill somebody. Now we want to put them in the big system, but we could have mitigated that if we had them on lockdown. This kid is 11 years old, in the street, comes out of the detention center on 32nd and Hampton, and is in a stolen car at another family member house. How do you think his mother feels? She put him there for help.
Center on 32nd and Hampton?
It's in one of those built by the apartment building on the south side of the street, 5-story building.
Right. Yeah.
And that's supposed to. So is that like a St. Charles like setup?
That's what it is. That's what it is.
I believe, and that wasn't like a real detention type thing.
That's why. And right, I went around the community and said, hey, this is not what we want in our community. I had over 200 signatures. And I looked Brother Daniels in his eyes. I said, hey, we don't want this. But, $3.6 million. Hey, I'm keeping that.
So let me get Sean. Let me bring Sean in.
Yeah, please.
Let me bring Sean in. He says he wants to talk about the prison. Go ahead, Sean.
Please, because Vince, you're comparing apples to steak. Okay, because what's on 32nd isn't what's gonna be prison. So I look at the money that these little cow towns got from these prisons, and I listen to y'all argument, and y'all arguments really don't matter no more. That's going to happen. So how do we benefit from this, right? What are the benefits, right? Those are tax dollars. Those are jobs. Our schools are failing. That's revenue.
Like Courtney said, there's only 35 people, 35 kids.
Right. Why are we going to keep? You can't change it. You can't change it. That's what Patience was saying. we keep talking about what happened instead of what we gonna do about what happened and what's the solution and where can we go? Where do we build? How do we benefit? Right, that prison is gonna happen, and that prison is nothing like what's on 32nd, bro.
Well, we were talking about 32nd.
Already.
I'm not talking about a prison, but it is a juvenile detention.
That's what we're talking about, though, Vince. And you're trying to compare.
I'm not comparing anything.
What Bishop Daniels did and this prison, right? And the prison, bro, that's gonna happen.
We don't care if it happens, Sean. That's 35 kids that's going to be locked up in Milwaukee. So what?
They're going to be behind a gate, right? That's not a group home. Ain't no open door policy then.
We didn't say it was a group home.
But you keep talking about what happened in the past, and we're talking about this prison. Ruben was saying how it's not beneficial, right? I'm saying since it's going to happen, how do we benefit? How do we make sure that this prison is not just another prison, it's not just another pipeline to a bigger prison, to the adult prison system, right? What's going to be in that prison, because those are our kids, right? We should have some say on how that prison operates since it's going to be in our community. Since we know that it's going to be in our community, it's going to be there. That's a done deal.
Okay, when they find out where they're going to, Sean, when they found out where they're going to break ground at, the aldermen and the people in that community should have a voice.
Then,
period.
I understand that, right? When you get in office, do something about that shit.
If I was in office, they wouldn't put that juvenile detention center over there unless they locked the door. That's what I'm saying.
It's not a juvenile detention center. It's a prison.
Sean, we're talking about two different things.
It's going to be secured. And I'm saying, Vince, even if it wasn't, there's nothing you can do about it right now, bro. So how do we as a community?
So what I'm
since you running for alderman, right? How do we as a community benefit from this prison?
Sean,
that's what I want to hear.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So I think here's the discrepancy. Vince is speaking about the center that's over there now, operated by WCS, which is which is not a secure facility. He's saying they didn't want it. Okay, and then so now the talk is they're going to bring a juvenile prison, which is a secure facility, to the community. It's going to happen, and so Sean is saying, if you're going, don't waste time on talking about what they've already done. Let's start planning on what we're going to do about the facility that they're about to build. So he said, we hear that people were ignored and it was a bad idea to do that, but this is coming. So let's prevent what happened before. And I see Ruben Anderson saying we learn lessons from the past. And so I'm thinking that's what he's saying, is that let's just talk about, if we're going to talk about it, that's already done. The what Bishop Daniels did, it's in effect. I happen to know a brother who works there. Actually, I think he'd probably be upset with you saying close. He's like, shit, I'm paying my bills.
I'm not saying close. I'm saying lock the door. Don't get out of there.
Now, but that would, now, if my understanding is correct, that's a different kind of permit. And I'm saying all of this. Because I did residential treatment at St. Charles for about 7 years, not shelter, residential treatment. What we were, which Courtney alluded to, was we were not a secure facility. So what we were doing is we were housing adjudicated teenage felons, individuals who had committed felony, robbery, assault, anything except for a sex offense, and I believe it was something else. But there was gun crimes. There was kids who had robbed somebody. Most of it was party to a crime. They had been sentenced to Wales, then given a state sentence. So what they could do is they could get in our program, and they would get all kinds of care coordinators, which I worked as a care coordinator too. You get a probation officer, and you basically are in the community on the weekends with your family once you earn passes, but you're there doing treatment, going to didactic groups, and you go to Watertown Plank School during the week. What we did have, like Courtney said, was boys who would say, we out. and they would just leave.
Because I was out on the regular. I was hungry.
Now, see, the thing with us though is if you did that, what you would get is what we would call sanctions, which means every time you AWOL, now you got to go back to court and you may get removed from the program and sent off to Wales. Okay.
Damn.
Right. Yeah. Ours was different. So that's why I'm saying I understand both parts of this argument because
Can I say something before I forget?
I hear Sean talking about, this is going to be a real prison. I hear Vince saying what a unsecure facility is. Go ahead, Sean.
But so I want y'all to think about something, right? I don't know how many of y'all old enough to remember Oshkosh and Fond du Lac and all of that before they had prisons, right? But they were towns. Okay. Those are cities now.
Right.
They have hospitals, they have universities, they have malls, they have theaters.
Yes, because of the prison.
Right. They have schools, bro. All from this prison, right?
No more cows. No more cows.
Right. They're not towns no more. They have cities. Those are the cities now. That's the city of Oshkosh. That's the city of Appleton. Because of those prisons and their people, instead of saying, you know what, I don't want this shit here, they said, shit, bring them niggas up here. We'll watch them for that money.
As long as they locked up and they can't just walk down the street.
Yep.
Like Vince said.
Yep. But that's what I'm saying. This is a prison. They're not gonna do that. So now, since we know, right, what type of money that this is gonna generate, our schools need money. We need a black hospital in our community, right?
Yeah, they all left. Yeah.
We need a bank.
Yeah, they
right?
left. They left too.
Yeah, we need all of that, right? So that we can become self-sustainable, right? Because that's going to generate money in our communities, and we know once the money starts to circulate, what comes with that? Opportunity, right? Because now you got more entrepreneurs chasing their dreams, right? So let's not look at this as, oh, fuck that, we don't want that. Them is some bad little motherfuckers, and if they get out, no, they gonna be secure because we gonna demand it, right? But we also demanded that part of that revenue go directly to the black community.
Okay.
That's my argument. That's what I'm saying, man. And then you're running for the first district alderman, right? Even though that's not in your district, do you know how beneficial that can be to your district? Because your district is in need of services. Your district is in need of a better educational system, right? Better teachers, administrators that look like them, right? Your district also is in need of that black hospital. You know, there used to be a hospital in your district over on Billard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What was that?
St. Michael's.
St. Michael's.
Yeah, my brother was born there.
Yeah, St. Michael's. So what I'm telling you, bro, is, bro, stop. You don't stay in a box, bro, because these other motherfuckers that's running against you, they already got they plan and how they gonna execute that shit and how they gonna draw the whole community, right? Bro, you do too. But you gotta stop focusing on that shit that you can't fix.
All right, Sean, let me catch up with my chat room. Let me catch up.
I love you, bro. For real. I love you, bro. And I'm gonna support you. I want you to win, man. I really do.
All right.
So yeah, let's get it.
Let me check. Let me catch up with my chat room. All right. Good looking.
Yeah, I'm out.
A lot of valid points. And Vince, I'm gonna give you a chance to answer. You know that. Mama Jenkins has a question though, and I want to make sure we get everybody in. And I want to shout out to Rail and Courtney. I want y'all to know if y'all got any input or let me know. I don't want y'all to feel like, hey man, what about us? Remember in Ray was doing Georgia and the band was sitting there like, what about us? And dude on here was like, yeah, what about us? I don't want y'all to be them dudes, right?
That's all good.
Right. No, okay. So Mama Jenkins says, where or what are the new demands for District 1, Vince, if you become alderman? She said, what are some of your demands? What are you
There
going to
are
focus on?
there are no demands. I think when we look at our district and what's happened in our district, the crime, the lack of education, and more importantly, the three jobs that have left this community. One of them, I mean, they're packing up, leaving now, taking 500 livable wage paying jobs with them. So we talk about economic development and we talk about kids and people having money and having access to money. But when jobs continually leave here and nothing replaces it, what do they expect, or what can we expect other than more poverty? And we have an educational system in this whole city that's not doing their due diligence, and we have kids. I go to group homes, and I've worked in child protective services, so I've seen it all. The entire community is failing. So what the people in our community is asking for and what they need is one thing. First of all, we got to clean it up. How can we clean up this city my district? How can we clean this district up where somebody can go out and sell it to anyone that wants to open up a business? Nobody's going to open a new business in this community as nasty as it is. So how do we clean it up to make it viable for somebody to say, hey, we want to move this manufacturing company to Milwaukee and we want to move it into the first district? First, we have to make it appealing, and we have to have people to be able to work those jobs. So even with the company that's leaving, DRS, we didn't have the mayor and the alder person making sure that we had people that are and programs out at MATC that can teach people the skills that need to be had.
So now hold on, Vince. So now are these things you're going to demand? Because we know they did little of nothing. We just going to assume that the people before you haven't done anything. So are these things that you will say this is what we want as a community?
We have to figure out how to bring jobs back into this district, and the quality of life is piss poor. I don't know if you guys remember some years ago, Eugene Kane was the journalist here. We went around the neighborhood, and what people are looking at, the prostitution, the drug dealings, and when we look in the alleys, we look at the same trash there. People have been calling the services here, so in the community, and nothing's done sustainably. So people are getting discouraged. And what I want to do, what I like to do, is to give people hope and to be able to walk across these lines and walk over to the county executive, whoever else, and say, hey, this needs to get done, and it needs to get done now. And we need to come up with a plan to figure out how to make it happen all the time. For instance, let's say for garbage. Well, maybe we've given all these properties to the Barada, and every week in my neighborhood, the alley is dirty with Barada's garbage. So what do we do to find these people that generates revenue to have them clean up their property? So that's a huge problem in our community, in our neighborhood. And the other thing is that the crime and the guns and the shootings, the elders in this community don't come outside. So what do we need to do? And say, people saying, what do I need to do? It's not about me. It's about the constituents. It's about the people that want to be active in the community to get things done. And somehow or another, I'm going to need everybody that's on this platform help for information and knowledge to be able to bring us together and start getting people to work together and come outside and talk to each other, so we can start making demands on the common council, the mayor, and even the governor. So we don't get anything in this city. And I'm a watchdog for my district. So whatever's going on at the city hall that hasn't been given that information to my district, they're going to get it now. So I'm going to be right up in there, boots to the ground, seeing everything that's going on, and my constituents are going to know about it. They're going to tell me how we should vote.
I don't think they know. I don't think they can tell you.
Well, they're going to know, because they don't know, because we have an alderman that's been in there that's been lazy.
Hold on. So Ruben Anderson says, the prison is coming no matter what. Let's deal with the overwhelming burdens placed on families as a result of a weak criminal justice system. Sarai says, Sahir, I'm sorry. Sahir says white communities welcome black communities, reject them. Welcome prison. Why do black communities reject them? Because I think that these white towns looked at it like, look, this farm shit ain't working. This milk and cheese shit ain't popping. Man, bring on the niggers, right? Like, and so we'll, like he said, like Sean said, yeah, we'll watch these niggers, because I'm gonna tell you the truth. When I would go fishing, and I miss going fishing. I can't wait till I'm able to go fishing again. If you go fishing in Madison, you pass the Department of Corrections headquarters. That parking lot is full of brand new vehicles, boats, pontoons. They have lovely homes. They're sending their children to universities all throughout the state. And this is all funded on our back. We talk about the conflict of interest here in Wisconsin. And do we really want to help the black community? Because God forbid those prison populations go down up north and they have to start laying people off. We talk about that on the show. Also, let me follow this too. Ruben says they serve no purpose. I think he's talking about prisons. Brother Sean, are you trying to argue with bruh, or what is the purpose? He's asking Sean, is he arguing with is he arguing with Vince? Kerry Walker Jones said it sounds great to have the money to go to the community, but in all actuality, it would go to the Deer District. That's a very good point.
And that's my point, is that I oppose the damn stadium.
That's a good point. It will go there. Sean said, Ruben Anderson, that's why your ass need to listen.
Yeah. Hey, Kev, let me say this though.
Hold on, Ernest. Let me just catch the chat room all the way up because I get too far behind.
Okay.
And then I'm missing conversations that's going on, and I sound stupid saying, "What's this about?" Ernest Walker says, "It's a double-edged sword when you try to benefit off young jailbirds because it makes room for greed. A lot of young people gonna get rounded up for money." Deion James, I can't abuse my outlaws in the chat room. He said, I don't understand why it's such a big deal. We have a prison on 7th and Keith, 32nd and Fond du Lac, 14th and McKinley, and MSDF. Ruben said, I'm listening. It's your delivery. He's talking to Sean. Mama Jenkins said there got to be some damn demands. Your area's needs are important, I think she means. Dion says, I believe this place will be nothing but a big group home on a minimum security for juveniles. Okay, now we're up there. Mama Jenkins says plentiful is filthy. No jobs, robberies on the rise, crime on the rise. So you have to have some damn demands from the city leadership. She's saying you have to have some demands as a leader. So I want to give you a chance to respond, Vince. So go ahead. I want to get the chat room up to date.
Yeah, about the prison, I think we have to go back to the beginning and ask the question: who farmed them out to these white communities, and why did we continue to do that? Why didn't we farm them to Milwaukee? That's the question that needs to be answered. And the demands are the demands of the people. They want a cleaner neighborhood. They want jobs. They want to be able to come outside. They want their kids to be educated. I mean, I've been in child protective services, and it's a system where our kids are being taken from their parents and put into these juvenile systems. And you can when you go down there, there's going to be a lot of demands, but the people have to come out in numbers. I'm one person. So what are my demands? My demands is based upon what the community want, what we want. I don't want any more money to be spent at the levels that they're spending them on downtown and on the east side and on the near south side. We need some of that money to be spent on the inner city. That would be my demand, is that we need money spent on us, period, in the inner city.
And I heard you referencing the jobs, because I know we should be aware. If you're not aware, it's your own fault, that there were some prominent employers in that area who vacated. And
last year,
and you have Century City sitting right there. And my thing would be to anybody, okay, we know that there's a problem there, but how can we bring these employers back? Because what it turns into is nobody wants to open a business down there because they don't want their cars broken into. They don't want to get robbed. They want to be able to go out to a lunch truck on lunch break and, walk around to get their steps in. You go fucking walking down 27th and Atkinson over there and get your shit tore off. You won't get back to work. You will miss the second half of your shift. And so there are some people who say the only way to fix this is to gentrify it, right? And that's what's coming from downtown. So I just want to know, how do we even get on point to starting a plan? There has to be a plan to bring jobs back. We just can't. They're not just going to automatically pop back.
You're right. So when we look at it, we have to look at historically. We look at the agricultural society, then we look at the industrial society, then we look at the service sector, and now we look at technology. So how are we going to transition our kids and families into these positions and jobs? Right now, what else is there? So there's some manufacturing jobs out there, but a lot of stuff is being made overseas. I've been in manufacturing. I've seen plants close, and I've seen production lines moved out of the country. So how do we the going market right now is technology and the internet. So how do we tap into those resources and knowledge and have that information so our kids can have livable wage paying jobs? You can now, we still have trade schools and things of that nature that kids can gravitate to, and we have to start educating, figuring out a way to educating our kids so they can become business person, laymen, or whatever the case may be. Right now, what we're putting out of MPS in these schools is not much of anything. And I'll tell you, a lot of these kids can't read or write or do simple math. So if there are jobs, Kev, who's going to fill them? And why would they bring them to our community when we don't have the labor force to fill the job?
But I'm saying we have to change that. That's been the norm.
Yeah.
I want to talk about how we actually create the change to do this. Now, hold on. My chat room is popping, y'all. The number's still active: 262-202-5131 for all you people who didn't graduate from King. 262-202-5131. Yes, I said it. Yes. Cojones. Sean Moore said there should be a percentage of those jobs coming to the first district. You get rid of crime with opportunity, or the fear of jail becomes I don't know. I don't even know what that word is. He said, let's talk. I think he wants to converse with you, maybe off the air. And that's always good.
Hey,
Ruben
Kevin, let me say
Anderson.
one thing before you go on. So DRS, who's leaving and taking 500 livable wage paying jobs with them. I went down there and I talked to upper management. I said, can you at least leave a satellite office here? They said, no, the building is sold. So we don't have leadership in this community that can negotiate or figure out if something can stay here. They're allowing people to just leave. And we've invested millions of dollars to build that infrastructure for them. Now they're gone. So we don't have people in the office that will go out in the rest of the country and have somebody out in the rest of the country. What's going on? What's popping? And what can we have in our community? How can we bring it back here? And what are their demands? So one of the demands and one of the problems that we had with DRS is that they had to open up another side of their facility for people to drive around, because when they came around from a certain area, people in the neighborhood would be blocking traffic and some of the people were late for work. So there's infrastructure problems and all of these things that necessitated them to leave, plus the detention center. So what are we going to do as a community, as a city, to be able to attract these jobs when they have demands? They're not demanding on us; they're demanding on the city leaders to make this situation viable enough for them to come in there and open up a business. We're not there yet.
Kerry Walker Jones says, in order to clear up all that's going on here, you got to address mental illness. It starts to pile on. It starts to pile on because every time you talk about one issue, another one comes up. But we got to solve one before we can solve two. Sean Moore said this deaf shit ain't working. Everybody don't want to be on the corners. That's who's gonna take the opportunities, but they haven't to this point. I want to talk about the people in the community. I'm finna go there on that. Byron said keep the knee on the neck. Ooh, that didn't sound good. That sounded very George Floydish. He said, Sean Moore says poor leadership. He said, I'll help you win, bro. Real shit. For the class, don't get it twisted. The parents don't want to drive 2 hours to see these badass kids. These connections officers, these corrections officers, these social workers, these alleged teachers do it in the hood and drive your punk ass home wherever you like. I think he's talking about the prisons. Mama Jenkins says they're not coming back because of fear. That's what I'm talking about. That's the job. That's their excuse. It's too much crime. Why would I build a business down there? They're gonna break into my shit. I'll be blowing money on security. If they closed the Walmart down because the employees were stealing too much, if they closed the whole Walmart down because they said we got a problem with theft, and people said, well, just get more security guards. They said, no, you don't understand. It's the employees. People was operating small department stores out the back of the store.
Man, look, I've seen it.
Yeah. Right. It was popping. It was popping. The parking lot did way more business than the actual store did. Byron says, do something and show me your simple plan. Kerry Walker Jones says, when Racine Correctional opened, I was one of the first officers there. The promises to the community was jobs and prosperity in the community surrounding it. Racine is more raggedy now than it was then. Racine is horrible. Like,
I heard Racine is ghetto. I've never been there, but I heard.
Yeah. Well, if you said it, it's just a hood that's further south. It's just what the fuck is this?
Damn.
It's actually Shout out to you if you ain't Racine, but your city's shitty. Sean Moore says, Ruben, you're a motherfucking candidate for office. What is you talking about? My delivery. You don't want me to coddle him. Not gonna happen. Just told your ass to listen. I grew up 3 blocks away. My delivery, stop it. I love drama.
And I can't be coddled.
I hope nobody on here wants to be coddled.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know. Depending on who you with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't tell them rails. I'm coddling good for you. Coddling bring your blood pressure down.
Hey man, it does.
Hey, that's your blood pressure down. That's called cuddling.
Well, people got different words for it. I figure rail would be able to. Rail is. I'm telling you, rail is a bio. I don't even transmodification specialist. Like rail is damn near a mad scientist, man. Rail breaks everything we talk about down to the infinite. Well, actually, if you look at it, the atom and the molecule really didn't get along. One was a crypt and one was a blood.
We didn't know that shit. His brain, I'll be saying it. He used a little bit more percentage.
Right. That's where diabetes come from. Your cells is gangbanging on each other. Your kidney did a drive-by on your bladder. You be like, damn, I didn't know that. Chantel Gwen says, wow. Byron says excuses are like assholes. Everybody has one. So what about this? Check this out. I'm caught up with my chat room. Vince, let me. Here's my thing, and I think everybody here would agree with me. We have been talking about this shit for a long time. We've been talking about, man, the problem with the city is this. Man, the problem is this. And all of everything everybody's saying is true. Yes, we have some severe issues with crime. Our school system is screwed up. We have really no real black economic infrastructure. I see now that there are more, the pandemic. I feel like the one thing the pandemic did was it kind of encouraged people to get on more of an entrepreneurial path. I think more black people have invested in entrepreneurship and trying to start some side hustle since the pandemic because they realize those jobs and that income could be taken from you quick. They could snatch the carpet from under your feet. You got to have, multiple revenue sources. So I think that's there, but it still hasn't taken form in the way that it should. We know about these problems. They've existed in Black Milwaukee for the greater part of 80 years, which would probably span our whole existence here. Because if you don't know, we haven't really been here that long. So this is why everybody keeps saying, okay, Vince, but what do you want to do? What is what's your concept? So what, because I know you do this with the pickers for people to clean up the neighborhoods. People say, how should we keep it clean? Here, take some of these pickers, pick up this garbage. Youth having problems, you say, okay, we should mentor young people. So you have plans there, you have intentions. So I think most people just want to hear what your intentions are. First day you go in there, what do you say? I need to talk to who?
Need to talk to neighborhood services.
Okay.
So when I go to the community, so the story is the same in the community. Is nasty, the guns, the driving, we want speed bumps. So you say what I'm going to do, what the people are telling me. It's not about me, it's about what they want. They want services, they want the neighborhood clean, they want the guns to stop. That's what they want. So so I'm going down here working with these people, and they're trying, if you look at the news every day, they're trying to come up with solution for these problems. So we'll add to the table, to the message. It's, this is my second time running, and it's the same thing. The people in the community want the same thing. So you said schools, education, less crime, garbage pickup, and the littering. Those are the problems that needs to be mitigated. That's what they're asking me for, and that's what they want done. What more can I do? I can't go back and fix 80 years of damage in 1 year. It ain't gonna happen.
Especially as an alderman, because I don't
exactly.
They don't have that much power.
You need to talk to the mayor about some of this stuff, because I'm an alderman.
I think what you do as an alderman is you have to make a mighty noise.
And I'm gonna make a noise in my district.
This is why we revere Mike McGee Sr. so much, because growing up, when I grew up, every other night, and I don't know if you had come back to Milwaukee at Vince, but every night Mike McGee Sr. was on the news making noise about something. I mean, this brother put a paper bag over his head when they took the picture of the Common Council, and he said, I did that because I don't even want to admit that I'm part of this bullshit. Like and some people would say it went too far, or he. I mean, this brother. This is why we loved him, because he was saying, man, look at this shit. Look, while we down here fat catting with our fancy suits on having these meetings, the community is suffering, and I'm not going to stand for it. And I think people want to see another. I'm not saying you have to be him.
So
they want
my
to see that kind of
is,
energy. They want to see that kind of energy come back to downtown.
Right. And my question is, and what I would do research on, what did it accomplish?
I can tell you some of the things it accomplished.
That's
number one. It accomplished. You got warning, which turned into and not this warning now, but I'm talking about warning back in the days. Took a lot of young brothers off the street, gave them something to do, gave them sports. There was youth employment programs. The city came up. That was the first version of Earn and Learn. And I'm old enough to remember when the city did actually have to say, okay, they created jobs for young brothers in the summertime. You seen brothers walking with the pickers, picking up garbage with the orange vests on. There was a lot of things he was able to get done in the community because all of a sudden people said, okay, we're going to give y'all the money to do that. We're going to give y'all, was Project Respect, very big. There's a lot of brothers who say, this saved my life. You know, out of that comes Running Rebels and all these kinds of things. But all of that stuff started with Mike McGee Sr. saying, look, man, enough is enough. Bullshit ain't going to ride. And so I think the noise and bringing light to it so that something can be done about it is the part that people want to see. I feel like that's what Black Milwaukee wants to see. We just tired of professional politicians who go down there and be very conservative and I'm going to say what I need to say to impress my funders and I don't want to offend me. We need an ass kicker. That's why I say the job of being mayor in Milwaukee it shouldn't be a job for a nice guy. You need an ass kicker in City Hall who will go to Madison and say, fuck this bullshit, run us our money. Not in those terms. And I don't want to turn people away, but we need somebody who's that adamant. Like, look, you owe us, Madison. You owe us an apology, first of all, and we demand that things be placed on an even keel for people of color who represent 40% of this city. Instead of, well, everybody deserves. We ain't worried about everybody. We worry about Black people. So we want somebody to come in there that's just really. And you know, this is the thing that makes when people say, Kev, you probably should run. And I've considered it before because I would go down there. I'm not fucking around. Look, they say I came to kick ass and chew bubble gum and I'm all out of bubble gum. And I feel like that's the attitude we need from anybody who's going to represent our communities because this nice guy shit ain't working. It has not worked. All these affable Negroes in Easter Sunday suits meeting for hours about just to give licensing and zoning rights to people who ain't even from our community. Because they're funding their campaigns. So I think when people ask you, Vince, we want to see the change, we feel like you represent that. We feel like you'd be an ass kicker. I feel like some people just might want to hear you say it. Like I'm going down there and I'm
Kevin, you know what? I'm not that. I'm an actions kind of guy. My action speaks louder than my words. So when I'm in there, the job will get done. I don't have friends in this city because most people and men in this city, and one of the problems in this city that men don't talk. Everybody that you're talking about getting things done. How many people were behind Michael McGee?
Well, we all were once we seen that he had our best interests at heart, even if we wasn't in his district.
Right. So now the question becomes, when I look at this city and the conditions that is in, what was done that's sustainable, that our kids are still getting the services that he put in place? It's not happening. The city is getting exponentially worse.
Yeah, well, you know why that went away? And first of all, they redistricted him. And the people he ran for county executive, and the people didn't do what they were supposed to do and vote him in there. So that's why I say I look around at the Black community in Milwaukee and I see a bunch of insecure, broken down, traumatized, uneducated, desensitized minions who wouldn't even stand up. They don't even we don't even stand up for our own community. We'll say the shit in private, but how many of us really confront it when it's there? How many of us really go out like you do and say, hey man, because check this out. If this factory or this business is in my neighborhood and it's viable jobs, it should be a mandate in the neighborhood. Don't block this goddamn street. But it's us in the community who allow this bullshit to go on. Why is it that we're not making sure our kids ain't robbing these people?
Because they're scared, Kev.
Okay, well, scared man don't win.
Exactly. We're not winning because everybody in this city is scared right now.
Okay.
We're not winning. Until we get off our asses and until these brothers in Milwaukee get out of their silos and trying to make bank for themselves and come together collectively. I've met with was Andre Lealis, Victor Barnett, David Mohammed. I said, here's a plan. Let's work the plan. I haven't heard back from any of them since I talked to them. So, Kevin, we got a disconnect in this city because everybody has a platform, and most of these persons are working together with each other. So I've been blocked in this city by probably most of the men that consider themselves somebody in this city. You've talked to Chris Johnson. So a lot of these people don't like me because of my affiliations and because of what I believe in and because of some of the shit that I've said on Facebook telling the truth about them, because I don't really give a shit about them, because they're not benefiting. My major purpose for running for alderman is to find some level of protection for our children and our elders. Right now, they are the ones suffering. Our grown ass is doing what we got to do, but they got a life ahead of them that they can't see a future. And how do we have some type of platform out there that they can see some light and have some future in their existence? Right now, my elders in my communities, Vince, I'm not coming outside.
Well, see what now there's a problem with that though, Vince, because that's why we used to have some serious issues with our generation gap. And I used to refer to what we call civil rights Negroes. All these black people who in the 60s marched for their rights and did all of this and got them a good job and worked at A.L. Smith and worked 40 years and retired and got to pay for their house. And now when it's time, when we really need a lot of them, I don't want to talk to them. They music too loud. They pants is sagging. They got them old tattoos on them. They listen to that rap music. So they've shut off and said, I'm not even, listen, once again, they have to be accountable as well. There's a need for their voice. And for you to say they're scared, these are the people that once kind of set the precedent. And
I'm talking 70, 80 years old. So, Kev, what about the people that are 50, 40, the blacks that are that age, doing the same thing that the blacks before them did? Nobody's doing nothing in this city. So are we going to say that they did something wrong because we don't have the backbone of these urban league young professionals? All these other people out here don't have the backbone to go out there and make some noise?
I don't know. I'm not really questioning their backbone. I'm saying I feel like
they don't have one.
I think that's a problem. If the people who are our elders, who are supposed to be our examples, don't have a backbone,
they've had their backbone. It's worn out. We got new blood. These are new people, a new generation.
Okay.
What are they doing? What are we doing? Why aren't they marching? Why aren't they making? They're down there playing the game with the white people.
For me, like I said, I just think there has to be a collective voice. And I think anytime we got one part of our city that's close that door, lock that door, wind up your window, don't say nothing to them, then we start to lose. Now I point that finger at us, now my generation too. I say this all the time. We failed as parents because there's no way our kids should be the way they are. There's no way. And I don't know if it's because we stopped whooping their ass. I don't know if it's because grandmama be twerking in Mr. J's now. I don't know. I don't know if because grandmama got an OnlyFans.
I'll tell you that the number one problem, Kevin, is that for 4 or 5 decades, we've had teenage pregnancy. A kid cannot raise a kid. We are seeing the results of 4 or 5 decades of teenage pregnancy. A 14-year-old child has a 28-year-old grandmother who has zero wisdom. So she's out there twerking with her grandbabies. So the music, a lot of things over the last 40 or 50 years have contributed to that. And it's going to take half of that if we can become a focused people to get back together and start talking to each other and get out of these white silos and work for our people. We need schools. Now, I'll give you a perfect example. Howard Fuller was the superintendent, right? We got a black superintendent right now. Howard Fuller want to build a school. You got a nigga in the office right now. Go talk to him. He's got some inventory. Use one of his buildings. Why can't you two guys come together and figure out what's best for our educational system? That's what's suffering our kids. Our kids can't read or write. So we got generations after generations. These 26 and 27-year-olds can't read or write. I've got a kid that's in prison that from running rebels for killing a baby. I have another kid that was at one of these institutions, and he said, I'm 10 toes down to the street because when I turned 18 years old, they turned their back on me. So we got some frustrated young people. old people, everybody's frustrated in this city. Who can be happy about anything that's going on in this city right now?
That's what I said. Everybody's unhappy, and this is why
Exactly.
you
So
get this kind of energy whenever we start talking about what's to be done. People start to voice their concern. Like Chantel Gwen is saying, fear is crippling our community as a whole. It's sad that people are scared to be outside because of the violence and crime all over the city. I hate watching the news because it's so much death, distraction, and diseases. And you got to understand yellow journalism, though. It's meant to scare you. It's meant to scare you. Byron says, I'll pass on this kung fu technique. You know what, Byron?
Here's one thing that I've done, Kevin. Kevin, here's one thing that I've done, and I'm only one person, right? So in my neighborhood, I've got a brother down the street, ex-Marine. I got a brother across the street, Army, and I've got the entire neighborhood. So I call my block and the 3 blocks down the street, we're the black suburbs because we have a clean neighborhood and we take care of each other. I can't do it for the whole city. I don't have that capacity. I'm working, but I'm coming home. I'm making sure my yard is clean. I'm making sure the lady down the street, her kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So how do we get back to being a community and being a family? We have to start opening up the doors and make people feel safe enough that they can come outside and speak to their neighbors. And one of the things that divided us is the school system. Like I said before, I used to walk to 12th Street, walk to Robert Fulton, and walk to North Division. I knew everybody in the neighborhood. They started busting us. They broke down our communities, our black communities, and I think it was intentional. Now nobody knows anybody. Anybody can shoot you because they don't give a shit about anybody anymore. There's no more family unity within the families too. I mean,
it's hard
when you got kids shooting their parents, you know we got problems. We got a 14-year-old and Teen just shot a 14-year-old girlfriend. We got some serious problems, and a lot of it is. I've been in Child Protective Service. I work for Milwaukee Mental Health Association. It is mental health too, and we have to deal with that stuff.
I think it's very hard to compare this country pre-crack and after crack. I'm trying to tell you, I lived through the crack epidemic. And everything did change in the community after the crack epidemic. And so when we start to talk about, and I always, when I hear black people, especially older black people, reference, man, I remember when the community wasn't so bad. It was what year was it? It was 1957. Man, things were good. We could walk anywhere we wanted to go. We never got robbed. First of all, it's inaccurate. There's always been crime in every black community that we've ever had. And number 2, that is pre-crack. So I have to go Bill Cosby pound cake speech on my own people, right? And point the finger back at them and say, this shit has been going on too long. And at this point, if you're not doing anything about it, I'm Kanyeing you, which means I'm saying to you, you're making a choice to live this way. I think right now, the problem is a lot of us in these hoods make a choice to live this way. I said it. A lot of people in the ghetto enjoy living in the ghetto because they feel like it validates them as a tough guy or I'm a real nigga. I grew up in the pitch, nigga. We kill niggas over here. We make songs about it. We make movies about it. We enjoy the symbolism because in our minds, that makes white people scared of us. And I'm here to tell you they're not scared. They're avoiding you until they can buy you property from you.
Yeah,
right.
Kevin, I would say this. You know, we can say that we've been conditioned. So if you have a child in a household that's dysfunctional, how can you expect that child to not be dysfunctional if that's all that he or she hears and sees every day? Some might escape, but the majority of them, like our community, don't escape because all that they see is drug dealers, prostitutes, and hoes, and not going to school. So they gravitate to the same thing.
Well, if you're seeing it, then you know what to avoid. This is my thing with the ghetto.
A kid doesn't know what to avoid.
Well, if somebody say that's bad, son, don't be that. And you say,
but nobody's saying that, Kevin.
Plenty people are telling it. They go, listen, these kids are inundated with people telling them don't go this route. Including us.
You can't
including us saying don't do this, cuz they did it even when I was growing up. Just say no. And I remember they used to come to our school and say to us, the police would say, we want you guys to make a promise. And we would say, okay, in sitting in the auditorium. Swear you will never join a gang. Gangs are bad. You know the first thing I did when I turned 14, I joined a gang.
There you go.
But I had been told this was wrong.
See, Kev, you goddamn hard-headed. That's the thing. See, but you know what? In my lifetime, nobody ever told me not to fuck with pimps. Nobody ever said
and
that.
You didn't know this was wrong.
And luckily, I didn't fuck with pimps. But they actually were some very nice guys. You know what I'm saying? So it could have been easy for me to fuck with them. Nobody had ever said don't.
They don't play no shit.
Nice.
They don't play no shit.
They got pimped. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. And I have to consider everybody's.
Well,
Byron saying to Vince, "Don't fuck with Howard Fuller. This seems like an old movie."
I don't fuck with none of
them. Sean Moore, what's your plan for for schools in your district, bro? He's asking you a question.
Well, tell him to talk to Posley.
Yeah, good luck at that.
Yeah, that's a brother. That's his system. That ain't my system. I can go around and I can talk into the schools and go have talks with the students and kids, but I didn't create this system. This system was built over some years to be dysfunctional, and they've succeeded.
Yeah, I once again, we get stuck in the middle.
I talked to kids. I went to North Division. I've talked to students in the past from North Division. They said they had some King books.
What is that?
Hand-me-downs.
I could believe that.
Yeah.
I could believe they got King's old books.
Exactly.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, but it's not what it is. Those are our kids that's suffering.
I know, but I'm sorry. I told you, God's still working on me. I got issues.
Yeah, we all do.
It's like you should have went to King. Like that's what I was first attempted to say. Like if you wanted new books, you should have went to King. Well, that is so wrong of me to say.
It is wrong because I had my books when I went to King, and I feel as though you're a bright man. I'm just as bright.
Right. I know you could say that, but there's a lot of people who can't make that argument. Courtney, I want to get back to you not knowing pimps was bad. How old were you?
Okay, look. So I moved to Milwaukee from El Paso, Texas in 99, 2000, 6th grade. So El Paso, Texas. Selena, BDB Bum Bum. It ain't none of this other shit going on. I get up here, Hot Boys are going on, Lil Wayne. And then maybe I get to 8th grade. Maybe high school. I don't know when I start finding out about pimping Ken and pimps up, hoes down. I don't know. And I might not have found out about this until I was an adult. Really, it's pimps up, hoes down and shit. But my mom started kicking me out in 10th grade and shit. You start meeting people and they were some nice people. I ended up at video shoots, and then the pimps were at the video shoot, and we chopping it up, end up at their mama house, like I said. But then I saw a bitch get slapped with a box fan.
Red flag. Red flag, right there. These people aren't as nice as I thought they were.
There we go. Not right. And then I left. So
okay.
And then later I got picked up by my people and told them what happened and who the niggas was, and they was like, "That's who." And then later it was a shootout. And
see, all of this sounds like it just proves my point. Like you can't be oblivious. You can't be oblivious to this. Like, oh, damn, he slapped the shit out of her, but he's such a nice guy. I'm thinking he probably ain't that nice, even if I'm like 10 years old.
That's the grooming process.
Okay.
Yeah. See.
Sean Mora, that's what you have to say.
Hello. So listen, hold on. We're not gonna do that because Pip and Ken them that was your era, right? Now when I came up, Pimps were a part of a system that was operating in the black community. They were men of honor, right? Respect. They didn't let you hang out. You wasn't skipping school, none of that shit. They didn't want you to be pimps. They wanted you to go to school and have careers, professional careers. They had a real system with the bar owners and the hustlers, the politicians, right? The business community. They had an understanding. This was in the 70s, though. 60s, 70s, right? Early 80s. So you didn't have all this mess.
Well,
that's going on now.
So when I read Iceberg Slim's book, Pimp, the Story of My Life, he referenced pimps from the 30s and the 40s, and they was slime balls back then. He talked about how foul pimps were as individuals.
Listen, I'm Listen. I'm talking about in Milwaukee.
Yeah, he's from
In
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. Think about something. No. He's from here, but he didn't live here like that.
No, he pimped in Chicago, but I'm just saying he's from here.
Listen, man. Ask yourself, why is it in the 70s and the 80s, this was basically the mecca for black musicians and entertainers. They came to Milwaukee to party. When they came here, they out.
I thought that was because of mob control, powder cocaine. I thought that was...
it wasn't about that, man. It was because Milwaukee had a system placement. They had the black community was a strong community. That's why the area we stayed in was so affluent. It was so many people that operated within that system. It was an underground system, but it was in the black community.
No, I know.
People don't talk about it.
I think we talk about anti-heroes. I think we start our
no, we're not talking about no anti-heroes.
If you're talking about a pimp being a man of honor, I think that's an anti-hero.
I'm talking about the system that was in place where everybody operated together.
Okay.
It was on one. Even though they were doing what they were doing, right, there were certain rules and shit that still were not violated. Whereas today, we got our leadership selling us out for dying.
Okay, can I ask you one
Back
question?
then, the leadership. Excuse me.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes, sir.
Because I always hear this, and I always want to answer this question when I hear people talk about what rule is being violated today that hasn't been violated forever. Like what? I don't think there's a crime being committed now that wasn't being committed back then. We just got Facebook and Instagram. So what's being violated now that wasn't being violated then on the streets in life? Like, what violations didn't happen then that happen now?
There's no respect. There's no respect for the elders. There's no respect for the youth. That right there is everything.
So old people didn't get mugged and robbed back in the days.
Listen to me, bro. The elders were treated as elders. They were held in that esteemed place, right? You had big mamas and grandfathers that had businesses. You saw a future with your people. You knew that you didn't have to go outside the community. You knew that some internal problems would handle without the authorities coming in busting your head. First and foremost, they wouldn't just fucking people up and locking people up, and wasn't a bunch of snitches and all that shit. People, it wasn't no reason to listen to me. Wasn't no reason to do no snitching because everybody was minding their business.
I didn't want to be a pimp because the pimp that grew up in my neighborhood was always in jail.
So check this out. So I don't think I'm a bad person, right? My daddy was a pimp.
Right. Okay.
He despised me being in the street. Despised it.
Okay.
His mother was the most spiritual person I ever met in my life.
Okay.
She despised what he did, right?
I need to get clarity.
Yeah.
Have not old people always gotten robbed and mugged? People have always preyed on the elderly. They've broken in their homes. People have always snitched on each other. It's always been.
I'm glad you asked me that because
we're
gonna go right back to the root of the problem. We're gonna go right back to the root of the problem, right? Like I said, there was a system in place where we operated the businesses, the tax dollars went right back into the community, right? What's different? We don't own shit. We don't have a system to operate, right?
What did we own then?
Our politicians have what?
What did we own then?
Everything in the black community, damn near.
Did we own
everything in the black community, brother?
Did we own it?
Yes, owned it. It wasn't no, we leasing this building. We owned that shit. Miss Watson's store was Miss Watson's store. The on 27th Street, that was black owned, brother. Fred, Fred dude.
I mean, I'm sure we could name. I'm sure we could name. I'm sure we could name individuals who own certain things.
No, listen, brother. Everything. I wish some of the elders would chime in. When Milwaukee was Chocolate City at one point on the north side, the north side of Milwaukee, you had some white families scattered in here and there, but bro, Milwaukee was Chocolate City.
I'm very familiar with all of that, and we talk about during the 70s, black people having the highest standard of living in the country. But I'm saying the same crimes that are being committed today were being committed then. And now people say, well, back in my days, crime was better. Crime was way classier then. Crime is crime.
Listen to me, brother. There was 3 classes of felonies back then. 4, A, B, C, and D.
And domestic violence was legal.
You got damn near the whole alphabet now.
Yeah, and a lot of that's because of crack. Like a lot of that's because things had to change because the community became a lot more lawless. I guess my point is this. Like I've heard people say, well, back in the good old days. And I'm saying, when were the good old days? Like if you say, well, when I was young in the 50s, well, the 50s were a horrible time for us. We had a little solidarity, but by and large, it was a horrible time. The 60s, horrible. The 70s better because of, the black middle class that was starting to come along. There was some ownership. I will agree with you in that regard. And it was at a higher clip, but it still was not up to par on what it actually should have been. We didn't even actually get open housing.
Hold on. No. You're looking at the data overall. I'm talking about Milwaukee.
I lived in the community. Period. I grew up on 17th and Capitol. I've been in the community my whole life.
How old are you, KP?
47.
47. When did you come outside?
At 6. I was never held in the house.
I ain't talking about you riding your bike around.
I can tell you this. I can tell you
really
this.
Coming off the porch.
I can tell you like this. 85 to 95, I go from 10 to 20. Those are the peak years of the crack epidemic here in Milwaukee. And I think anybody who was here would tell you that. You look at Milwaukee in 1985 and 1995, you say, what the fuck happened in these last 10 years? Yeah. So those
73 to 84.
So those are my you say, when did I come off the porch? I would say 1985. When I became aware of, damn, that's going on. Oh shit, that's this, that's that. So it's not like I'm a spring chicken, but it's not like I'm a fossil.
So for clarity's sake, right? We're talking about 2 different eras though, brother.
Right, but I'm saying those crimes that was being committed then had been committed prior to that, and I know this because of my father and my mom, who would tell me, "No, I remember this and that." They would drive through the and tell me where somebody got murdered at. That used to be this till so and so got stabbed in front of it. Every time we have some niggas fuck it up. That was the ongoing story. And my mother came here in 1959, and she was 17 years old. So what she would tell me is the hood in Milwaukee has always been fucked up. A bunch of country ass, violent ass niggas living in the same neighborhood are always gonna steal your shit.
If you want to do the murder data, we could do that too.
Okay.
I'm quite sure that the era I'm talking about compared to your era and this era, the homicides were quite lower.
Of course they were.
It's a different
There's no crack.
That's what I'm telling you. See, but I'm not saying that your point ain't valid for your era. I'm not saying that, brother. I'm not arguing that. But what I'm saying is because you live in the era I was talking about, right? The era I grew up with my guys that's older, right? That actually sit down and we converse about, life real life? And how do we restore that era, the culture of that era, right? Which was unity. Yeah, I'm talking about that era, little bro.
Well, it is, but that's the same era that got the palace closed down because they couldn't stop fighting. The same era that got
Hold on.
the gold mine closed because they couldn't stop fighting.
I said 73
to 83, right?
to 84.
That's the same
To
era.
84.
That's
right. We did get the palace closed. I didn't say that we didn't. That's why I said because that when shit got bad. But I'm about 73 up until then, brother.
Okay. I just think we look at young people and we pass judgment on them and we say, I don't want to help or I don't want to speak to these young people. And I'm not talking about you, Sean, because I know you work with young people.
Okay.
I'm talking about people in general say, these kids too bad. They ain't like we was, and they don't have this and that. And it's okay. Well, they don't have it. Of course they don't. They don't have maybe what you had. Now, the difference in that community that you referenced would be, I would say, those good old-fashioned Southern grandparents, which I was fortunate enough to have. And those Southern parents who had Southern morals and Southern values, which my parents had. So there was a lot more than prevalent. And they're gone on now, or they scared and they got their doors closed because these boys got their pants sagging. So I'm not going to speak to them because their pants are sagging. And then when you do speak to them, you so focused on their pants that you're not trying to get to know them and why they're in the situations that they're in. So we lose a beat. Instead of you saying, hey, young man, I'm not going to criticize you how you dressing. I just want to know what you're going through, man. Why you out here on this corner like this? Because it ain't about what he's wearing. It's about what he's going through. And you can't help him unless you're going to deal with what he's going through. So we start saying all these boys, all they want to do. Somebody said not everybody in the streets wants to die. I totally believe that because here's a secret. It's more scary soft niggas in the hood than anywhere because they trying to survive and to act tough is their defense mechanism. I gotta have this big ass pistol. Why? Because I can't fight and I'm scared somebody will beat me up or take what I have. So I gotta act tough. A lot of them, you get them behind a wall or you get them somewhere they cry like a baby. Man, my grandmother never loved me. My father molested me. You be like, damn, bro, just get a bike back. I don't need to hear all this. Just give me back what you stole out of my yard. And so we end up in this situation where black people get to debating about the debate and arguing about the argument. All the stuff that's happened in the past. Kamar, we did this show. What we call it? Let it go. What do we call it? Get over that shit. What do we call it?
Get over that shit.
Get over that shit. We said black people gotta let a lot of bullshit go, include myself. We gotta let, man. I remember when nobody cares. Man, it used to be nobody cares. You know what they did? Nobody cares. We gotta stay focused on what we're going to do moving forward. We are fully aware that we've been screwed over in this country. If you don't feel that way as a black person, please call in. Go in the chat room and say, Ken, what you talking about? We got it good over here. It's been love over here. We've been screwed over. The question becomes, when you get downtown and the black Democrats say, come on over here, let's talk to you. And the Republicans say, come on over here, let's talk to you. How do you navigate that to say, I'm not worried about neither one of y'all, I'm worried about the people?
Because I know who I am.
Okay.
I'm neither one of them. And I'll say it again. If you guys can't do something in this community that makes the quality of life better for our kids and our elders, I can't fuck with you. It's that simple as that, period, point blank. And they downtown are concerned about downtown, the south side and the near and then the east side. When are we going to get some love? That's all I want is some love for my community, period.
I went one
money
time.
Love.
I got access to a county supervisor one time, and I'm not gonna say no names because I want to protect the guilty. I went to meet with this county supervisor with a brother who really had something that he wanted to say to an elected official, and he got in there and he said, "We got to get free by any means necessary. We've been downtrodden too long. You've been standing on our necks. We demand freedom. We demand justice right now. You're gonna treat black people right, or we're gonna rebel and we're gonna burn the city down. We've been done wrong too long." And the county supervisor said, "What do you want?" And he said, "We've been done wrong. We want justice." And the county supervisor said, "Okay, can you tell me what you want so you can get justice?" He said, "I'm telling you, we're fed up." The county supervisor said, Okay, but can you just make a list of things that you come up with?
I would
Until
ask
this
him,
individual turned to me and says, Kevin, explain it to him. And I say, you know what? We can start by taking unutilized park pavilions in underserved neighborhoods and turning them into social service hubs and giving people access to resources in every community, as opposed to having them go all the way across town and take a number and stand in line for 2 and 3 hours in some long drawn out process. We can start by doing that. And we can start with the Blast Pavilion on Capitol Drive in Lincoln Park, because there's a serious issue over there with young people and healthcare and education. He said, you know what, Kevin, that's a great idea. I'm going to write that up and help you get it passed. And it got passed. Now, did they act on it? No, because we as a people never said, let's act on this shit. Right? So my point is, we can blow hard and we can give speeches and we can say, no justice, no peace. If you say, excuse me, sir, what does that mean? The average person going to say, it mean they need to do us right. That's not no explanation. If you're going to make a demand, you have to have an ask. I'm demanding justice. Okay, tell me what justice is to you. Until we do that, I just think we're going in circles. Because other than that, it just sounds like a lot of good speeches to me. Go ahead.
My question would be, what's in the pipeline?
Okay.
Where's the money coming from that's going to be utilized for these programs? Where is it? Where is this coming from? And how can we divert some of it to our community? So I got to, what needs to happen in our community? We need money. So what's in your pipeline from the federal government, from the local government, from tax revenue? What's your plans and what's in the pipeline for you to spend this money? So let's talk about that and how we can not spend as much. I don't think that any of my tax dollars should have been paid for that damn Buck Center. That money could have been used in the community.
But when you look at the revenue the tax revenue that's generated, we could say that, but we get our garbage picked up. We get you got a fire department. Like people say, they ain't give us none of that money, but goddamn public services it cost. You want salt on the street, you want your street plowed. Well, my shit gets plowed and salted, and my garbage gets picked up. So I think
so you got a team that's working for 6 months that's generating that type of revenue, Kev.
Yeah, because the tickets is $200 a piece, and they sell the stadium out.
How much the basketball players getting paid, and everybody else getting paid? There's pennies left over for us.
Outside of Giannis, I'm just saying, as many other things, like we could go against the Fiserv, which actually generates tax revenue, but we didn't really make noise about the train, which sucked up revenue and didn't replace any.
And it's still sucking it up.
Right. So when we say we talk about CDBG money, how much of the CDBG money, and this is something that you would have a stake in as an alderman, how much of the CDBG money is really directed towards rebuilding the infrastructure in the first district? Because they should be allotted a certain amount of it. And Bear wouldn't even let you do an outside audit of the CDBG money. So we don't even know where it went, except for what Rocky Marco said. And he admitted we did divert some of that downtown. How much, Rocky? But we as black people, as the average black person, they don't even know what the CDBG grant is. Man, what is that, cuz? Is that a club? Goodness gracious, man. Yeah, we got to look at something besides media takeout and goddamn World Star. And I'm talking to black people, because we always blaming white people, and we are our own worst enemies a lot of times. People can say, Kev, you sound like a coon. It is what it is. Maybe I am. Is my criticism my way and my contribution? Absolutely not. But there is some criticism there. Ernest said, stop comparing criminals to other criminals. Kerry Walker Jones said the difference is the computer, the cell phone, and social media. Yeah, just like back in the days, people said the radio and the television and cable TV. It ruined the world, right? New shit always ruins the world. That goddamn light bulb is fucking shit up. I see too clearly now. I'm sick of this shit. Ace Cooley, he said, what, Kamar? Good thing they didn't grow up in the old West Lawn. You'd have to tell us about it. Was Pimps real popular? Were they looked upon as good people in West Lawn, Kamar? Was there nobody there telling you that was wrong?
Well, I mean, that lifestyle was glorified. Let's say that.
Okay. But nobody told you that wasn't the way to go.
Oh, shit. A lot of people told me that. I was raised by women.
Okay. Hell yeah, I heard that shit.
I knew better. I mean.
Right. Okay. I don't know. I don't have anything against pimps. I'm just saying I do recognize a pimp for what he is.
As long as you don't have your daughter, right?
Well, shit. Come on, man. Vince,
That's what I'm talking about.
Shit, I almost said what?
Yeah, exactly.
Goddamn right. You better not. Shit. I kicked the Gators off his ass. He said he meant what's up. Ace was speaking to you. People just putting one word. I don't understand this. Tiasha said exactly. I'm just saying, man. I just think we spend way more time pointing fingers and blaming other people than we do actually getting active. My son called it getting active. He'd be like, "We got to get at. You got to get active." Like I feel like we talk about a problem and then we go to sleep, and then the next day we talk about some other shit and then forgot all about it.
Or talk
Like,
about the same thing again.
right?
Yeah.
Well, if it doesn't get resolved, sometimes it gets convoluted and confusing which way someone should go, because every road that we walk down seems to be the wrong road.
Well, it's like banging the same drum. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get it. We understand it's a problem. It's a lot of problems. But, we got to figure out how can we fix our own problem.
How long are we going to be figuring it out?
I'm just saying. I'm just answering the question, Vince. That's
until
all.
until we accept responsibility. I think in a lot of cases we're not accepting enough of the responsibility, and especially us as black men. If we just wholeheartedly say, you know what, we kind of fucked this up worse because of what we have not done for our families and our children and our women, and so we have to get together and we really got to fix this. We got to put our best foot forward. A lot of us won't even do. I've heard brothers say, "No, man."
How come we don't ever talk about the good shit going on?
I don't know, because the show ain't about good shit most of the time.
I'm saying, man, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like I be around people.
Right?
Hey, listen, like I be around people every day. Like I feel like our people, we are doing better. We are making moves to do better. I see more black businesses open up. I was just talking to a brother who got a landscaping company where he just picked it up to where he got like 10 people to work for him. I mean, I feel like in 10, 20 years from now, we're going to be employing our own people. I feel like we're expecting everything to change overnight. You know what I'm saying? So it is some stuff we could talk about that's good. Like, let's talk about living in gratitude, all the good shit that we do have going for ourselves. Let's mention some of that shit. Or some of the good shit that we are achieving as a people. You know what I'm saying? Or even selected individuals in our community. Let's talk about some of this good shit too, man. This shit just be like beating a fucking drum, listening to the same problems every fucking day.
I got two things for that, because some of the shit that we say we doing good is actually not what it seems.
I just got
that's only a matter of perspective.
Go ahead, Courtney.
I said I just got me an office space. We growing over here. What you
mean?
Doing well. Business is growing.
I got an
what
office.
You mean?
Good, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm seeing shit happening. I'm seeing our people being more conscious of their health. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing more people being conscious of business, of supporting each other even. I'm just seeing more of that. That's just a space that I'm in where I'm seeing it. You see what I'm saying? Kev, that's why I say I feel like it's just a matter of perspective.
Take that, and I would encourage you, take that mantle, and that's pretty much what you do, because you don't light fire to shit. We do that, and there's a role for everybody. And I feel like by me promoting what you do and what Rail talks about and what Courtney does, and we encourage black entrepreneurship, and I don't know how many people who got businesses that I brought on here and platforms that I brought on here, they ain't showed me no love in return. So I feel like I give enough shine to positivity, so I deserve to be able to talk about some bullshit sometimes too. That's my perspective. I don't just dwell on the negative, but I'm damn sure willing to talk about it.
It's just a matter of perspective.
Right. I don't know. There's some good stuff going on, and we talk about that and we laugh about it, and then we move on to the bullshit, and that's kind of like where we go. So I think you got to talk about them both. Really, I don't think, because if you get too happy, you get let down. If you too sad, you get subjugated. So I just think you got to talk about them both. I think balance is everything. Maybe it's more important. Maybe it's important for you, Kamar, every show to come in with, say, let me shine some positivity on this before we get into the bullshit. How about we do that?
That's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah, Kamar.
Okay.
Can I say something right quick?
Absolutely.
So Kamar brought up something that was prevalent back then, right? they had a Black Business Association. Okay, and those taxes that were generated, they went towards the Black community, right? And they had a voice downtown, where the underworld part of it, no, but they respected it. They worked in unison for the Black community. Were they? I'm not saying Pimpin was right, but they worked within that structure that was formed, man.
Okay, so let me ask you this question: with all these Black Power players that we had, how were we able to be dominated by Harold Breyer and his killer Gestapo cops forever, and several other racist?
Hold on.
Hold on. That tax money,
they didn't.
All of that tax money and all of that. We were a mob controlled city. There was so this Black tax money. Where did it go to? Where did it? Because the Black grocery store owners are the ones who sold them to the Arabs, and we are the ones that patronize them. Let's be honest here. The hotspot don't do online business.
Hold on, bro.
We spend money at the hotspot.
You just spoke on something. Let me answer, because you talking about the grocery stores, but the grocery stores, they weren't the ones that were generating all the tax dollars. It was an alderman like Pratt and them that went downtown, and they helped these Arabs close up these bars. You know what I mean? By allowing them to sell beer and liquor. So there was no need for that bar thing anymore. That's what ran the bars, and that's where the money came from, bro. Was the bars, were the Black-owned corner stores that they weren't selling liquor like that. Think about it. Them Arabs came in because of the politicians and how they switched up.
Love's Liquor was Black owned, and it was one of the biggest chains in the city, and they totally sold out to Arabs. And so we were selling liquor and everything else.
That was after Lee Love died, though.
Okay.
His son them did that. Lee didn't do that. Lee wasn't gonna sell out to the Arabs. It wasn't until after Lee died, his sons and daughters sold that.
It happened. I don't know who did
started
it.
Doing that shit.
I don't know who did it, but it happened. I'm just saying the neighborhood that I lived in right there on 19th and Atkinson.
Why do you keep up? Why?
Right there.
I know that it's your shit, bro.
Right there
but
on 19th.
Gonna keep on taking my era and pushing it where you want to go.
Well, that area right there on 19th and Atkinson. When I was little, it was Jackson Mini Mart. There were several Black businesses. I got my first haircut in there. That's all owned by Arabs now. They sold the shit. Didn't nobody make them do it. And as far as your era goes, buddy, let me tell you about your era. I don't know where you think I learned most of my foul habits from. It's from you motherfuckers, because y'all right above me.
Yeah, so but all that honor and respect I came up under.
Yeah, well, they was crooked too, because you had to learn it from somebody. So
hold on, no. Come on, don't I always say, man, that I fucked up? It's my community helped raise me, and I do what I do because of them. That's because of the good of that community. So don't do that. Don't do that, KB. We're not gonna do that right there, bro.
Shit rolls downhill.
Well, I'm not saying that my shit didn't roll downhill.
No, I'm
not saying that.
I just feel like you saying y'all crime was classier than ours, and I'm like,
I'm not saying our crime was classier.
Our criminals was better. They stole in a more moral way.
That the Black community had a system in place.
I don't think we've ever had one in Milwaukee.
Hold on, listen. And it operated in unison, man. The underworld, the politicians, the business owners, the working class, right? Yeah, there was Breyer and them. They did what they did. But, bro, I remember when police wouldn't just pull on people. You know what I mean? They respected. Listen, I know a dude who broke a police jaw for pulling him out the car, and the man spent 24 hours in jail because he didn't have no business putting his hands on him. He violated his rights. Them brothers was standing on that shit back then.
I think
now, they can do what they want to do.
Well, I think Daniel Bell and Ernest Lacey would disagree with you. I think Daniel Bell and
Man,
Ernest Lacy would disagree with you.
It was Ernest Bell and Lacy was before the era I'm talking about.
No, Ernest Lacy was in 78. Daniel Bell was in 1958.
You're right. That's one, bro.
It's many.
Look what happened to that. The city came together for that. We come together for George Floyd. Hold on, stop. We come together for George Floyd and Mike Brown. How many of us have got killed and we don't do that? When that happened in this city, man, this city almost blew up. When they killed Eric, this city almost blew up. But now they can kill John, they can kill Ray, they can kill the brother on 11th Street, they can kill the sister on Wisconsin. They don't care because we ain't gonna stand up, we ain't gonna say nothing, ain't no unity. There is no structure in the black community.
If you go back to 2016, when people were mad about them killing Seville, was that his name? Was his name Seville? The young brother?
Yeah.
They burned down the gas station and they rioted, and people said they were wrong. So when you say the city
that was not long after the Mike Brown fiasco that turned into the Hamilton fight. So that energy still relevant, and the people that were involved in the Hamilton fight were involved in what took place in Sherman Park. So you really can't you said that can't separate that.
You said that back then they almost blew up and people almost went crazy because of it, but we said when this happened, the people it did blow up. But you saying, well, they don't get the credit for that.
It wasn't the people. I was there.
I was there. It
wasn't the people.
I seen black kids.
Individuals. It was a few individuals, and they didn't do that because of Seville. They did that because they thought dude who had that gun was back in that gas station.
Well, there was a lot going on that night, and I was standing there on that corner on Sherman and Burleigh, right across from the fire.
There too.
And so I seen a lot of black people my brother and I actually drove the whole area, and we witnessed a lot. I want to get Vince on to say his last, because it's 10 o'clock. I gotta let y'all go. Some of us got jobs. Kamar got sea moss to sell, so he can't be up all night. He got to get his beauty rest. I'm gonna blame it on you, Kamar. We gotta let Kamar go to sleep, right? I want Vince to come back. We lost Rail, we lost Courtney. I guess they like, fuck this, we out of here. Tired of you old niggas arguing. But I do want to say this.
I thought we was having a conversation.
Yeah, but people interpret it different ways. Black people, we talk with our hands, and people get scared, like, oh shit, they're gonna fight. No, they just talking, right? Like so. But I want to say this. It's important we stop arguing about the argument. It's important we stop dwelling on the past. It's important that we let shit go and establish the direction on where we're going next, because I'm getting ready to pass this off to my kid. My daughter just turned 20. My son is about to be a young adult. I want to be handing them the baton to something that's going to create momentum and prosperity for them, as opposed to just telling them the same old stories. Well, you know what they did to us back in the days. Like, one of our biggest issues about the slave shit is, well, we only talk about slavery. We don't talk about the richness of the history that black people had aside from slavery. So as long as we keep regurgitating the same old, well, that's what they did, and that's what they did, and until we get to, okay, we need to utilize this that's on the books now so we can get this. We need to formulate this so we can do that. Until we start talking about that, we're gonna be stuck on stupid. They call it paralysis by analysis, right? Where you study long, you study wrong, right? And so I just wanted to put that out there to let people know that we got to get more solution oriented. And I talk about the problems as they exist, and I want to try to make sure moving forward, I'm talking about solutions. Like, if I talk about a problem, and we used to make a point of doing that on Outlaw Radio, to say, okay, we talked about this, let's talk about what can be done. I want to move back in that direction. So, Vince, I need you to come back and close out. Kamar, what you got going this weekend?
I ain't got nothing much going on, man. I'm gonna hang back and get ready for next week. I got a real big week next week. I'm gonna be real busy. So
okay,
this weekend I'm chilling out, man, so I can get ready.
Yeah, y'all get with me for this apparel. I'm going to be getting some stock in. I need sizes, and I need you to pre-order them because everything's made in-house, handmade, customized apparel. Get with me. I got more than the hoodies coming. I got a bunch of stuff coming down the line. Get ready. But I just need for you, if you want to support, you want to really pour into what we're doing, holler at me. You can hit the Cash App, make a donation to the platform. We appreciate the kind that jingle, but we love the kind that fold. Vince, what you got coming up, man?
This probably until the primary, just be knocking on doors and talking to people and see what they want. It's a district and it's full of people, and the people in the district have wants and needs, and that's what I'm going to be listening to, what they want and what they need, and I'll take that to City Hall.
Okay. Sean, you got to come on. We got to get you on because you take up all my phone time. You block my phone line.
Listen, man, it's about unity, man. We got to come together, man, and we got to have some structure in our eyes, man. We got to stand for something, right? And if we don't stand for each other, man, first, we losing, boss.
I got you. Totally agree with you. Listen, we'll be back Monday, man. Replay. Share the show. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like I said, man, that's all we can ask. And once again, I believe if you love something or someone, you should be honest with them to a certain degree. And so we need to be honest. If you love being a Black person and you love our community, you got to be honest with the community. Right now, a lot of and Kamar and I have had this conversation a whole bunch of times, and I want to end the show tonight with asking everybody this question. How much of your power has been taken from you versus how much you've actually given away? Think about that. And then we'll talk on Monday. Peace and love.